All right, man, we are in the building. Today is September the 3rd, 2024. The NFL is back Thursday night. We have a big game. I got my squares going. I hope I can hit. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting off with the season playing squares this year. Not, I ended that Super Bowl playing squares. Now we're starting the season playing squares. And so I'm looking forward to that first game with the Ravens and the Chiefs. But welcome to the 41 Sports World Network. You see, there's a lot of people here in the studio, maybe be more. Who knows? Everybody's welcome. But I'm just gonna throw the names out there. Nard from the Nard Report, he's here. Welcome, Nard. All right. Make sure you check him out, Nard Report, on YouTube and all social media platforms. Philly Red
Y'all
Zone.
check out my latest episode too.
Oh yeah, your latest episode, man. I did check it out too, but check out his latest episode on YouTube as well. The Nard Report. Again, on all social media platforms, Nard Report. Philly Red Zone. Uh, and the name speaks for
Hey,
itself.
hey, how you
Uh,
guys doing?
all right.
Good.
Yeah, go Birds,
Th-
baby.
There it is. The Philly native. Uh, living in if I can say it, living in Texas somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't want.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. I ain't going. I'm not gonna pinpoint where you at because I know you got some fanatics out there. But
Yeah.
and then we have the show case right there, and his Falcons red right there. Um, he's ready
uh,
for the Falcons to go all the way. Um, let's see, calculator over there, my man, calculator from the Former Sports World Fantasy Football Show. Our lead guy there, calculators in the building. The Saints fan, by the way.
Greetings and salutations, everyone.
yes, yeah.
All right. So we're gonna talk about it. Hey, you're gonna find out tonight from us who's going to dethrone the Chiefs. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Calculator, how do you say it?
And we're back.
Yes, sir. We're yeah, we're back.
Yep.
We're back better than ever, man. So everybody's in the building. We already did the intros. Who's who? Uh, Make sure you go to TikTok, please. Hit that QR code right there, Mister 411. You can type that in if you want. Same thing on Instagram. Please do those things for us. All right. All right, NFL season, man. It starts Thursday. Let's go ahead and just kick this thing off. Let's start with the NFC South. How about that? Because I know we got a couple
Oh,
of
wow.
Falcons people here. We got four people out of five here are in the actual state of Georgia right now. So we might as well start with the Atlanta Falcons and in the NFC South. Oh, and by the way, we got a Saints fan here too. So this should be real interesting. All right, so NFC South, gentlemen, Philly, because we got so many of these other guys that are heavily invested in the division. Let's start with you first. Just your initial thoughts on the division, and then we'll go from there.
Wow. I mean, the division is I mean, it's from the surface, it's taking shape with Kirk Cousins joining the Dirty Birds. I mean, that put a little feather in that cap on having some stability at quarterback finally, other than the you know, other characters that have been, trying to fill Michael Vick's shoes for over the years, and then finally maybe we get to see the real unleashing of Bijan, and Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I mean, they got us, they got our offense, and then adding Judon and Simmons. I'm impressed with the Dirty Birds. I mean, my Eagles see them week 2, so hopefully they not clicking on all cylinders. And let them click on week 3. Saints is you know I'm not a big Derek Carr guy, but I mean I like the fact that Kamara's coming back. Hopefully he's fully healthy from his back issues. And I mean the Saints come off the bus playing defense. The middle of their defense, Lattimore and those guys. Hopefully they they can stay healthy and they can play good ball. Carolina, Ah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be sorry this year, man.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see them winning no more than like 3 games, and they might win a game 10-7.
Well,
Kicking the
the
miracle
over,
field goal.
yeah, the over under on Carolina. Vegas set the over under at 5.5 wins.
Ooh, I'll
So if
take the
you,
under.
so,
I'll,
so
I'll put all my money on the under.
but now hey, I'm a Saints fan, but I am going to say there is optimism in Carolina because they are getting Canales from Tampa Bay. We saw what he did with Baker Mayfield, reviving his career, got him an extension. So they're hoping he could bring that type of offense over to Carolina. They invested in Deontay Johnson at wide receiver. They drafted Leggett. So there's optimism. But I have to be in y'all's corner as far as I
Is
don't
it going to play offensive line?
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
key.
That's where I was gonna go. I mean, their offensive line is, oh my gosh, the poor kid out of
Yeah.
Alabama, man. This guy is gonna be picking himself up again.
Yeah,
And I mean,
I'm sure C.J. Stroud is very thankful he didn't go number one in that draft to Carolina.
tell me about it. But and then I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. I mean, Todd Bowles. I mean, he's a defensive coach. So their defense is gonna, even though they lost Davis and a couple other guys on that defense. I mean, you got to respect how Todd Bowles dial it up and calls good defense to keep his team in games, scheme wise. Offense, I mean, I'm not the big Baker Mayfield guy. But they got the GOAT and Evans still, and Godwin and White, the running back. So I mean, they'll be in there. I mean, at the end of the season, man, I'm looking at Atlanta. I think Atlanta will be the team that rise to the top. They'll win that ninth game to take the division. So whoever get the first team that get the 9 is winning the division. I'll just say that.
Yeah, because Atlanta, you said that ninth win. I mean, when you look at the schedule, they could go on a run. At week 14, they play Minnesota, who might be out of the playoff picture by then, because they're rebuilding. Then they got Las Vegas, the Giants, the Skins, and Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So with that closing schedule, I hate to admit that it looks like the Falcons, as long as they keep their head above water going into then. I mean, of course, they start out tough. Their first 3 games: Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Kansas City. So
they might be 0-3.
So of course before they play New Orleans, so that and take the records out of it and take
y'all split every year.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Even the Drew Brees era, it seemed like we get a split with them, even though
exactly.
But yeah, I being the Saints fan, I think this is Dennis Allen's last year, and the reason I say that is, first of all, there was literally a group of people in New Orleans that tried to gather and pool money to get the Fire Dennis Allen billboards out there. He's not liked by the community. He's not. A lot of his players don't like him. That's why Jameis Winston left town. Because him and Dennis Allen did not get along. So even if New Orleans can beat Carolina, they play Dallas, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and then Kansas City. So they're if they don't win that game at Carolina, they're 0-5. I mean, because I have them losing at Atlanta. So I mean, if Dennis Allen is going to see if he can make it past week 5, but to the credit of the Saints organization, they do hold on to coaches, but I think that's going to be a little to this detriment. The one positive thing I have is they are bringing a new offense as well to the Saints. Kubiak is bringing his pre-motion system to the Saints because they were just real stale last year.
Yeah.
And so that's why they need some innovation. They need some new, and see if that helps. If it doesn't help, we'll see by week 5. Week 5, the first 5 weeks, and then I'll jump to week 6 week 7. That's when Sean Payton comes back to town and they play Denver. That there's not much love for Sean Payton in the Superdome. So that's that. That's going to be interesting of how that's going to. We're going to see if because Dennis Allen was handpicked by Sean Payton to kind of run run the team after he left, and it hadn't been good. So we'll just see how it goes. We don't even know if Dennis Allen be that. We'll cross that bridge when we go to it. So, but I want to talk to the Falcons fan. I mean, what about you guys? How's y'all's optimism on the Falcons?
I'm feeling real optimistic about my Atlanta Falcons this year. I feel like we're going to win the NFC South and win a playoff game. I see us getting at least 10, 11 wins because I'm really confident in our schedule this year. I could see us beating the Steelers at home. I could see us beating the Cowboys at home and possibly upsetting the Chiefs.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
10-11 wins.
Say it with your chest. Say it
Really
with your
good.
Because to get to 10 to 11 wins, you do have to win those home games against those. So that's why I was a little less optimistic because I saw a lot of y'all's home games were against hard teams.
Yeah. But our first 3, we got to come ready to play. We can't start 0-3 to start off the season.
Yeah. Kirk got to stay healthy, man. And they got to feed Bijan. They got to give Bijan the ball.
And
let it go through him. Yeah. But it start with Bijan, man. You get those safeties cheating up, and you get those one-on-ones on the outside, and you use motion, and you getting Kyle Pitts and matchups on linebackers or safeties that he's bigger than. Now you talking. But it start with Bijan, man. It's gonna get those guys, creeping up, thinking, now Kurt is good at the play action pass, man, and they got to utilize his that skill set that he possessed with that.
Yeah. Well, what you got, Brooks, on your Falcons, man?
Yeah, I mean, so here the thing I think about first is this team won 7 games last year with a quarterback who's already been cut. So he got cut from Arizona. He was fine for the backup spot. He got cut. Yeah. And with a head coach who just mismanaged the talent and the skill on the offensive side of the ball. I thought he was just terrible, especially, again, on the offensive side of the ball, where he's supposed to be, that's supposed to be a specialty. So you replace Ritter with Kirk Cousins. You replace Arthur Smith with Raheem Morris. So right there, I mean, you got to think we're going to get more than 7 wins just on those trade-offs right there. Now, what I'll say is first-round pick is not going to play. Third-round pick out for the year, they're not going to play. So they're pretty much getting no help from this draft class. But they were aggressive in the offseason. They brought in late Justin Simmons, Judon. We'll see if Judon can stay healthy. But he's really needed, again, I harp on it, pass rush. We got to generate a pass rush. So Judon, I'm looking at Judon. Yeah, and hopefully Judon can give us that. This defense was a bright spot last season. Now, it kind of was a little soft in the fourth quarter. During really late game drives, they gave up some points and gave up some late touchdowns. But overall, the defense was solid. And you think about this combination of Bates and Simmons at safety. I mean, you can be hard to name a better safety combo in the league.
That's the best safety duo in the league. The best safety duo in the league, Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons.
Yeah, so you look at the easy schedule. Yeah, it starts off rough, but it's I think it's the easiest schedule in the league. So again, and I agree with Philly Red Zone. 9 wins probably wins this division. You go and let's get this division. Look at the starting quarterbacks in this division: Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, Kirk Cousins. This is gonna be a bad division. It's gonna be bad. I mean, I I was listening to a podcast and they were like, I think maybe FanDuel has a prop bet over under 30 wins for the division.
Oh, total. Wow.
And he was saying under, and they were like, I like the under here. So that gives you an indication of how bad this division is going to be. But you think about the changes made at quarterback, at head coach, the easy schedule, the late additions of Simmons and Judon. Like I think the Falcons do have, I think they have to be the favorites. Hopefully they can get over the 9.5 with this schedule. I just feel like the over 9.5. And we'll see but the other thing is the Falcons, one thing I didn't notice in the Arthur Smith era is a culture change. They still were inept. They still made mistakes. They still snatched defeat from the grips of victory. Raheem Morris needs to change the culture, and hopefully Kirk Cousins can come and change it. A veteran quarterback. I think that's what I'm going to watch too. In close games, can they pull out some close games and kind of start changing the culture away from 28-3, which has kind of just been lingering over this team's head, and we keep kind of making the same kind of late game mental mistakes. So hopefully the coaching change, the veteran quarterback, we can start to see a culture change. We can start to see them pull out some close wins. I do like the Falcons this division. 9 wins will probably win this division. Hopefully, I think the Falcons with their easy schedule can get over that though.
Yeah. And I do have one question for the Falcons fans as well. First, it's a home game against Pittsburgh. Do you think they'll have more Pittsburgh fans than Falcons fans? Because Pittsburgh are notoriously famous for traveling and turning home field advantage or negating the home field advantage. I just didn't know what the feel is around Falcon Nation.
No, week 1 will be crazy at the bench. Now, there's going to be a lot of Steelers because when you look at their schedule, the first 2 games are on the road in Atlanta and at Denver. So the Steelers fans are going to try to take over Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
and then you have
well.
Yeah, you have all the transit, and then Atlanta's like a transit city too. So there's probably a lot of people from Pittsburgh that live in Atlanta, or that kind of thing too, to help add to that number. What about you, bro?
I mean, there's going to be some excitement first game of the season, all the new acquisitions. So maybe a little bit more Atlanta fans than you would expect. But Atlanta is notorious outside of the Braves, who have built a culture of winning and who the fans trust. These Hawks. These Falcons, you have to earn it in the eyes of the Atlanta fans. You got to win. That's something that the Falcons haven't done consistently. So they string some wins together, and that's what Atlanta wants to see. They want to see, they want you to prove to them that you're worthy of their fandom. Because the Hawks, Falcons, they don't have that trust in the eyes of the fans like the Braves do. So. I mean, there's going to be Pittsburgh fans there for sure. I mean, that's one of the more passionate fan bases. So, but again, string together some wins, and that you'll eliminate that.
Yeah, I mean, at the halfway point, if you 500, I mean, that's better than what you guys was last year. I mean, that's something that you can get hopeful. For going into the second half of the season. I mean, like what you guys were saying, it's the more vulnerable part and easy part of your schedule. Is that second half. Then now you looking like something.
Before Kirk Cousins went out and blew his Achilles, he was leading the league in touchdown passes. I think he had like 18. So.
He was
hopefully
MVP.
Yeah, so hopefully he can come back.
He had a jet. He had a jet he was throwing to. So, London Bridge gotta show something.
I will say we're thin at receiver. We had an injury already at receiver. I was hoping they'd bring somebody else in. But then again, Kyle Pitts is basically a receiver. So you look at London and Pitts, and hopefully they can get Kyle Pitts re-engaged in this offense. Hopefully we can utilize Bijan Robinson more and not just throw to Jonnu Smith for some reason.
Is he still there?
No,
I
he
thought John
followed.
Lou
I think he
left.
followed. I was just. It was a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm about
I
to say,
was
hold on. I
taking it.
thought he was
I
with
was
another
taking it.
team.
No, I think he followed. I think he followed Arthur Smith to Pittsburgh, didn't he?
Who,
Oh
Cordell
yeah.
Patterson?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he did.
Well, guess what? The NFC South. I think it seems like most of us are thinking the Falcons are going to win it uh, by attrition. I mean, Nard has 11 wins. I think I'm gonna stick more around that 9 area, especially with the schedule. So, but I
Yeah.
mean, hey,
Yeah.
that's still that's tough, man. And they definitely are trending in a direction where I know Falcon fans are feeling great about that. My son's a Falcon fan. By the way, I just couldn't quite get him to be a Seahawks fan, and quietly, I don't blame him based on that, based on what we've been doing there in Seattle for a while. But anyway, we're going to have to shift now to the NFC East.
Well, hey,
And
Mr. 401,
so go ahead.
I just want to say one last thing as a Saints fan, because, like I said earlier, I am going to have to go to a draft pretty soon.
Yeah.
Even as a Saints fan, I am picking the Falcons to win just because
Ooh,
they have the better offensive line and they have the better. What was before is Achilles, a better quarterback,
yeah.
and an optimism. There's not much optimism in New Orleans, and optimism is a faith that, that can really help you in the closer games. So yes, even though I'm a Saints fan, I do think the Falcons are going to win. I think the Saints, once we get and I love the offensive change, but I'm thinking we're going to need a new culture in the form of a new head coach to get in there and see what Kubiak does and stuff. But before I go, and before just leave y'all, I do want to leave because I think I have a somewhat surprise on the AFC side. I'm going to leave my quick Super Bowl picks before I'm out. I have the Detroit Lions winning the NFC, and I have Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers surprising everybody. Yes, sir. I'm telling you,
What?
Chargers. And that's why I'm calling it now, folks. That Jim Harbaugh area, one of the top offensive lines in the AFC. If they can stay healthy, I've just been hearing a lot of buzz. Then they're keeping it quiet because you're not hearing the Chargers by all the procrastinators. But I'm telling you, I don't know. Now Justin Herbert doesn't have to chuck that ball, 30 times a game. They can run it. They drafted another mauler on the offensive line, and they're just going to keep running with Gus Bus, J.K. Dobbins. They got him recycled in there. They got a stable of running backs, and Justin Herbert's going to pass a couple downs. They still got a nice acquisition in McConkey, and I'm sure Brooks can attest to him on what he can do. So I really like the Chargers. I don't know what it is about them. I look on paper, but of course you do have to play the games. But that's what I think. And of course I'm picking Detroit to win just because they have more. I just think they have more of experience. But folks, Chargers. I'm not a Chargers fan. I told you I'm a Saints fan, but so I'm as unbiased as can be. From what I'm hearing, I like the Lions in the NFC to beat the Chargers in the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness. Calculator.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right,
But hey,
hopefully your calculations is off, man.
I know.
Well, calculator. I know you got to run into that fantasy draft. But before you leave, all you got to do is give us an answer, and it's gonna weave us right into the NFC East. Cowboys or Eagles? Who's winning that NFC East?
It's Philadelphia. They're returning back. I think that was more of a. I think they'll return more to the. I think the Kelsey retirement is going to kind of hurt a little bit, but I think it could be an addition by subtraction. What I mean is, I think Kelsey taking all of the protection kind of sheltered Jalen Hurts a little bit to where he really couldn't learn as much. Well, now they say there's more on his plate, but I think that's going to be room to develop for Jalen Hurts. Now he can set the protection. That'll help him in turn read the defense. And I mean, you want to talk about a duo. I think that Dotson trade really helps him to have the best 3 receivers in the NFL. When you got Devontae Smith, you got A.J. Brown, you got Dotson, you still got Goddard outside. And now you bring in a Saquon Barkley in there. I mean, that's almost unfair. So the offense is going to, get better. I think all those Georgia players, I mean, those are some stud guys, and they've played together for a while. I think it was just one of those things that it just kind of like the whole mental thing kind of wore down on them, and their schedule last year was just backloaded like crazy, and it just wore on them. So I think they are gonna. I like Philadelphia. I think Dallas is gonna take a step back. I mean, Philadelphia. If you look person to person, Philadelphia has the better talent. Because I just see, like I said, I think Quinn leaving the Cowboys is going to hurt their defense. I mean, if you think about it, Dallas's defense was kind of middle of the road. Quinn came in, changed the culture, built him in, and now he's gone. I think that's going to have a carryover effect. So I think
Mm.
Dallas is going to go down a little, and I think Philadelphia is going to be right back up. So yeah, if I had my pick of the East, I'm definitely going with Philly. And I'm not just saying that because Philly Red Zone's on the
No,
on the
no,
call.
no, no.
That's what I truly hate. And if you
Man,
follow
you
our
picked the Lions
fantasy,
to win the Super Bowl.
well, that's true. Well, then now I'm going to go there. But yeah, I had yeah, but if it's coming to the East, I'm definitely picking Philadelphia because if you listen to our fantasy show, like we said at the beginning, I'm high on a lot of Philadelphia players in the fantasy spectrum.
All right.
Nice.
Well, that's a calculator, ladies and
Yep.
gentlemen. And we're gonna resume with our guy
Hey,
Philly Red
calculator, before
Zone.
you leave, what pick you got in your draft?
For what?
Your fantasy draft.
Oh well,
Oh,
I had
tonight.
tonight. Well, I got the number 4 pick, folks, and I'm going for Bijan. So hopefully
Ooh.
Bijan. A lot of these guys are in New York, so I'm going to get them to 4. Brees Hall is going to go ahead of Bijan in that draft. If you read the draft room right, I think that's going to lead Bijan to me. So that's what I'm targeting. And if CMC, Bijan, and Brees go 1, 2, 3, I'm for it. Then I'll pick a CeeDee Lamb.
Tyreek.
And then, well, I can't go that because I'm going to pick Waddle in the 3rd round. I have a Waddle. See,
Ah,
go ahead. So I don't like to stack those types. So that's why I'm going to get my CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to pick up, probably a running back in the 2nd round, pick up Waddle in the 3rd round. And your man, Philly Red Zone, I'm hoping Devontae Smith will fall to me in the 4th round. That's my first 4 rounds that I'm going. So, hey, I got to leave a draft with a Eagle on my team somehow. So that's the
you
initial
go.
part.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Good
So,
luck,
Oh,
man.
well, there it is. All right. Well, he's a calculator. Well, we appreciate you, man. We'll see you down the line.
see you down the
You
line.
did.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, guys.
All right. Later.
All
See
right.
you.
All right. Let's pick up on the NFC East. Philly Red Zone. Your squad. You heard what the calculator say about your Eagles. Yeah. The
Yeah,
floor is
yeah.
yours.
I would agree. I would agree with him. I mean, yeah, losing Kelsey, losing Fletcher Cox, those were, our legends in the city was, staples on the team. But sometimes when you lose, guys that have those personalities, and you got a team full of young guys, it forces those guys to learn from them while they're there, but then also to step up. I mean, the addition of getting CJ Gardner Johnson back. You get Saquon, you got Devin White, you got you know Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean in the draft. I mean, Trotter Jr. You got a lot of guys. Still got Slay, on the squad. All the Georgia guys. I mean, and then adding a Saquon Barkley to the offense, a Jahan Dotson. I mean, those guys. We'll see it all come together Friday. I have high hopes, for this squad. I mean, last year was, oh man, it was hard, man, watching that second half, man. You went 10, 10-1, and then the wheels fall off, man. That was bad, but I don't see that for my squad this year. I think they learned as a unit on how to block out the noise, not smell your roses before they bloom, man. And I think last year they did a lot of that because coming off of that Super Bowl trip and losing to KC in the fashion that they did, a lot of guys, man, it's one of those things where you feel like you arrived, and the little things that you did to get to that point, you stop doing because you're like, all right, well, I know what it takes, and I could just turn it on. So, but I like the Eagles, man. They're over under on for me is 13 and a half. I have them winning 14 games. Um, you know, I'm planning on 2 trips to New Orleans. I'll be in the first one, And the second one, I don't know if I could be in the building because those tickets be too high. But yeah, so that's I got the Eagles coming in the out the East, NFC East. Dallas, I'm with the calculator. I think them losing Dan Quinn will be a big hurdle for their defense. I mean, that guy, he schemed the heck out of that talent that Jerry Jones gave him. And then Dak, he's worrying about a contract, even though he says he's not. But it's he's human. He's seen everybody else get paid, and he his cap number is also capping the Dallas uh, salary cap in a sense. I mean, they got CD done, but they still got other guys that they had to pass on, and free agents they couldn't even talk to because they knew they had to pay CD, they got to pay Parsons, and they got to get Dak if they're going to do sign Dak, which I think Dak is playing his last year as a Cowboy. I think he'll be a Raider next year. That's I heard it first. The
Yeah, that's the
Giants,
word on
the
the street.
Giants, the Giants. Oof, the Giants is just the Giants, man. They're Daniel Jones and nothing else. I mean, Neighbors is a good rookie, but he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He'll make his bones, through the league. He'll have some games where he'll go off, and he'll have some games where, he might have 40 yards, receiving. And
Yeah.
for a guy like that who was all world athlete in college and high school, to come to the league and be humbled, can he sustain that and keep his head right? And then the Commanders, man, I like Jalen. What's his name? Jalen Daniels. And
Jalen.
You like the quarterback
yeah,
from LSU, okay?
yeah, Daniels and with
I think
Scary
Washington will be
Terry
nice
and
this year.
and uh Brian Robinson and those guys. I mean, I
Yeah.
can see them taking a step over Dallas this year, being number two by at least a game. So it'll be the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, and then the Giants. So that's my take.
Oh my God, Brooks, what do you think about this? Brooks and Nord, this NFC East, man.
I
Yeah.
think
Oh, go
Philly
ahead.
will win that division because nobody repeats in that division. Like this is the Eagles division.
All right, so you good on the Eagles. Also talking about how teams don't repeat. They have a history of that, years and years of that, with the division flips. And I'm on board
I
with you
think
there.
this is the
I feel like Philly's gonna win this division as well. All right, Brooks.
Uh, I mean, Dallas. You think about Dallas in the playoffs and Dallas in the regular season. Those are two different conversations. Dallas in the regular season is very consistent. 10, 11, 12 wins. I wouldn't expect anything less. They got CD Lamb his contract, which they desperately needed because outside of him and their tight end, I think it's Ferguson. They just don't have the weapons, so they need CD Lamb desperately. And CD Lamb's probably the best, up there as the best receiver in the NFC. So getting him signed was big. Dak, for all his playoff miscues, it had a really good season last year. So this Dallas team is going to be there. Micah Parsons is one of the better defensive players in the league. Uh, so you got studs on both ends of the ball there. So no reason to think Dallas. I don't see the Washington overtaking Dallas. Um, but yeah, I mean Philly. I think Jalen Hurts was hurt last season. Just watching him play, he probably had some injuries that he wasn't disclosing or playing through injuries. Get him healthy. We talked about the losses on, some veterans on Philadelphia, but they did bring in a new defensive coordinator, which I think they desperately needed. There's too much talent on this Philly defense to play like they did to end the season. Um, Saquon Barkley is a big addition obviously if he can stay healthy. But if he does, Philly, that offense, the offensive weapons that Philly has, and if Jalen Hurts, can stay healthy, we know what type of quarterback he is. So yeah, as far as the talent standpoint, you got to think Philadelphia has the edge. But again, Dallas is a very consistent regular season team. They still have their big guns. They have Dak, they have CeeDee Lamb, they have Micah Parsons. So no reason to think that Philly's just going to run away with this. I think it's going to be close, but it's definitely Philly and Dallas up top. I'm excited to see Jaden Daniels and what he can do. You know, Terry McLaurin's a very good receiver, so he's got weapons. Um, so excited to see what he can do. So if I was a bet, if you can bet the order, you think about Philly, Dallas, Washington Giants. I feel like that's pretty locked in. I feel like that's a pretty favorable thing to bet on. I would bet that be the standings. And the Giants, the Giants just don't have it. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. So I don't have anything for them. I think they need to move on from him. But that's how I see it. I definitely think Philly has the edge from that division.
Yep,
Well,
yep,
to
yep,
me,
yep.
well, I like to say something too.
Yeah, come on now.
All right, to me, like I said, Philly will win the division. Nobody repeats in that division. Dallas, they'll make the playoffs. The Giants, Daniel Jones is not the guy, and then Jaden Daniels for Washington. I feel like Washington will have a solid season. I could see 7 wins from them, but in the next 2 years or so, the Washington Commanders will be a playoff team.
All right, you
That's
love that quarterback move, and some of these other moves that they're making.
it's
That's not a bad prediction.
Look, there's too much Dan Quinn love for me. Dan Quinn's a good defense coordinator. I mean, as a head coach, I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
just saw what he did for the Falcons.
I was about to say,
He,
wasn't he the head coach for the Falcons?
Yeah.
yeah, and he just
Was
his rhetoric. He's one of those people. His rhetoric gets really old. He's too much coach speak. And I think that just wore thin. I think the guys in the locker room just didn't feel like he was genuine. I think he just had too many mottos, too much coach speak, and I think he lost that locker room. Which 28, you lose the Super Bowl being down 28-3. I mean, that's going to hurt you anyway. But yeah, it was his
That
first.
wasn't
It was
Dan.
his first. It was
That
his
wasn't
first
Dan
gig.
Quinn. That was it was partially Dan Quinn, but a lot of that was over
Shanahan.
there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
If you just run the ball, you win a
Oh
Super
yeah.
Yeah.
Bowl.
No, yeah. I would say
yeah, that
I mean, he gets a second chance. I think I think it's good that coaches get second chances. We got Raheem Morris, and so I mean, you can't judge it all on his. He did take a team to a Super Bowl. So,
yeah,
but
awesome.
I think he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach, in my opinion. So,
There you go.
All right. Well,
because
we'll
we
definitely
had
see. Oh, go ahead and finish out,
one
bro.
last thing, as you think about those Atlanta teams. Look at their defenses. He's a defensive head coach. Did he change that defense? No. So I mean that's what I'm saying. He did some good things, but again, I think he's a better coordinator than head coach. But we'll see. We'll see. He's got a good situation there if Jaden Daniels pans out. So
Yeah, that's definitely a good start. If you get you a
Yeah.
star quarterback, we'll see if he turns into one.
Yeah.
Welcome Antoine to the show. You
Hey,
heard his voice
Gentlemen.
there for a quick
how you
second, but
doing,
welcome,
Antoine?
man.
What's up?
All right, gentlemen, how y'all doing, man?
Doing
All
All
great.
right.
right. Hey man, we already predicted the NFC South. You probably heard some of that conversation. Falcons are, I think, the universal favorite on this panel here. Even the calculator, who's a Saints fan, said that he believes the Falcons are going to win the division. And now we're currently on the NFC East, so that's where we are now. Antoine, you feel the same about the Eagles? You feel like they're going to win this division?
Oh yeah. The Eagles. Last year was a. It wasn't a. It was never. It wasn't about the talent with the Eagles last year. You just go. It just goes to show you when guys talk about locker rooms and the things that we don't see, practices, the breakdowns of the minutia of the game that we don't see, and how it affects the outcome. Because how do you start off the season like 11-1?
It
You
was
know what I'm
10
saying,
and
10
1.
and 1, 11,
Yeah, 10 and
10 and
1.
1,
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
and then you get to a point where like we see them just melt down. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so that's
At the end
not
of
what
the
was going.
at the end of the season, they forgot how to play football.
Yeah, and it was more about what was going on the outside that you know what I'm saying, like what was going on the internally than it was
Yeah.
what was going on externally. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the opponents that made him do anything. It was, like you said, when the coordinators aren't getting along, the players aren't getting along with the coordinators, the coaches and getting along with the quarterback. That's just a recipe a recipe for disaster, and we saw it. I mean, because like I said, you didn't lose a whole lot from a potential Super Bowl winning team to the next year. You know what I'm saying? The only thing
Hmm.
it was you, like you say, you see it 10-1. It's like, man, you take walking there, and so I think with
And
the
they
thing
had
with
the
the
NFC
Eagles.
East too when they was 10-1.
Yeah, and the thing with the Eagles too, I see that the one thing that you can see that makes a great organization is from when it's from the top down. Jeff
Hmm.
Lurie got in there and said, "Guess what?
Hmm.
You gonna coach. You gonna be my defensive coordinator, and you gonna be my head. You know what I'm saying? My offensive coordinator. I don't. This is what's gonna happen, and that's what I like about it. Hey, we've got a separation of the jobs. Everybody's got an assignment that they have to do. These are the responsibilities, and I think that helps teams out when you have management that's able to come in and help the team, unlike Dallas, who, Dallas is I don't, pardon my French, but they fuck themselves up every year,
Yeah.
man. You can have, I mean, it's like they play above their heads and they have everything that they can have going for them. And Jerry Jones will get out there and shoot himself in the foot, man, like the thing with CD Lamb. Why is there a question about paying your players, your three best guys,
Yeah.
Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CD Lamb? You've got a franchise quarterback. Whether you like Dak or not, he's not any worse than anybody that's out here. There's only a couple of quarterbacks that you're gonna take in front of him. You got a a top tier receiver. And when you were saying, I heard y'all talking about it. Go, I won a couple of damn fantasy leagues because I had CD Lamb on my team. He is consistent. He catches the ball. He shows up. And now you want to put that in danger because you don't want to pay him. Like, come on, man. That's idiocy. I mean, idiocy.
I said this
Yeah.
in my
Pay your
video.
players
That deal should have been done before the preseason started.
before the season. Yeah, you pay that man what pay him. Pay
But
him. You know what I'm saying?
but
Like, just pay him.
Jerry has a history of that. Let's go back to the '90s. What he did with Emmitt Smith. You know what I'm
And
saying?
exactly.
He has a history of that. So he want to
E-
play
Except
hardball.
except with one guy. Except with Tony
Romo.
Romo. Mr. Average Ass Tony Romo had no. You've never heard Tony Romo talk about sitting out nothing. He got paid every time it was for him to come up. His ass got paid, and he was the definition of Mr. Mediocre. Like you
Yeah,
say,
so
Wow.
true.
which one? My man, was my man Brooks up there? The one that said like the damn Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They'll go through the regular season and trick your ass into believing they got a good team, and they'll get to the playoffs and eh, like I
And
say,
then they disappear.
yeah, no, I got a little crude language. They shit in it and fall back on top of it. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. That's what they
Accidents
every
waiting to
year.
happen.
Yes, and that's what they do. And again, the guys that CD Lamb is you never hear about this kid getting in trouble. He hasn't done anything stupid all the way through college. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a good he's a good man.
He's top
He
three receiver
does
in the
his
NFL.
job. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't sit out 4 or 5 games a season, and that kind of stuff. And he's productive when he's on the field. And when it's time to pay him, you've got to sit back and have a grand, well, we're not worried about him and all that. And so, like,
Yeah, yeah,
Dallas is becoming the Los Angeles Lakers of football. It's like it's a great place
Yeah.
to want to be or used to want to be, but like now, eh,
yeah,
Well, I mean, the last time they won a Super Bowl was in the '90s, correct? So
yeah.
the
yeah,
hype is there. We have to talk about it, even like tonight we're talking about them. And The last time they won Super Bowl was 95, I believe. When that isn't that
Yeah.
about right? Somewhere in 95.
Yeah, I was
So
15.
okay, so we're going way back into the time machine for Dallas, and
Yeah.
it doesn't match up with the talk that they get in the media. But hey, it is what it is. It's Dallas, guys.
And real
Um,
quick, if you don't mind, Mr.
sure.
411, like everybody was saying, I do think that like you said, I think the Eagles will win the division. I it's kind of up in the air. I think I was wanting to say Dallas, and my man got back. I can't see that good. That's the calculator over there?
Well,
No, no.
you got Brooks up in the top corner, and Nard below Brooks.
Okay, now Philly Reds. Yeah, that's my man over there. Okay, so yeah, you'd want I do believe that the Commanders are probably going to sneak up on people a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, Dallas should not be third in that division. They should be right there fighting with the Eagles. But again, when you have
Definitely
so
should.
much disarray in the organization and there's never any continuity in the organization, then that hurts you. So I think Eagles first, Washington second, Dallas third, and then the Eagles. I mean, then the Giants are just the Giants. So
The midgets.
Yeah, to me, it's Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants.
All right,
you got the
guys, let's
you got
go.
the Commanders behind the Cowboys.
Yep.
Okay, I mean
All
it
right,
should be, but mm,
Yeah.
all right. Well, gentlemen, let's go to the NFC North. Uh, is it a two-team race, three-team race? What are
Ooh.
your
It's a
thoughts there?
two-team race.
Okay, Nard, kick
I'll
us
go
off on
first.
that.
My thoughts on the NFC North is it's a two-team race between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. I'm gonna take the Lions to win the NFC North. When you look at this team almost made it to the Super Bowl last year. They were 30 minutes away in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. They got the team, they got the talent. I believe that the Detroit Lions will make it out the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. So I got the Lions winning the NFC North. But I won't be surprised if the Packers come out of nowhere and win it.
All right, Nard. Okay. All right.
hey,
Brooks. Oh, who's next? Come on, Brandon. I think I
no,
heard you.
Brooks,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, Brooks, go ahead. Go ahead. No, 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 no. I'm not gonna break up nothing. Brooks, go ahead, man. I'm listening.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-team race here. Jordan Love got paid. He finished the season. I'm a little skeptical on Jordan Love. He did finish the season hot, but he didn't have the sample size for me just to go and be like, okay, he's an elite quarterback now. I'm going to give him a few more games, but he did finish the season on a tear. Got some playoff wins. Um, so it does look like a two-team race. Detroit, from top to bottom, just has the better roster. Um, Goff is steady. You got one of the best pass rushers in the league, and Aiden Hutchinson on the other end. Um, so it should be a two-team race. I mean, I do like Detroit. Minnesota, DJ McCarthy got hurt. They obviously traded away Kirk Cousins, so they're going to be abysmal this season. Chicago, who knows? Like, how's Caleb Williams going to play? That's an unknown. Chicago has a lame duck coach. You see what they did with a young. You see what they did in a young quarterback, and you know, you see what they did in a young quarterback who's now on the Steelers.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. You see how they developed him. They didn't at all, and he has all the talent in the world. So nothing makes me believe in this team as far as Caleb Williams, unless he's just more further along and more polished than Justin Fields. So we'll see how that goes. I think this is a lame duck season, and they're going to can that guy after this season. So yeah, it should be Detroit and Green Bay. Yeah, I'll give the edge to Detroit there.
Quick hot take on the Chicago Bears. The Bears will go 9-8 or 10-7 and make the playoffs with Caleb Williams.
Oh,
Wow, Nard bringing
oh,
the
we.
heat.
Wow.
All
All
right.
right.
So, man,
Is
so
it
so
is
what
it
do you
on
have?
me?
What do you have to say about that? Yeah, come on. What you got to say
All
about
right.
that?
Well, I'm not gonna be so
Bold.
forgiving and bold to say it's a two team. I think it's gonna be a three-team race. I mean, Chicago have a good defense. Everyone forget about that they spent money on that defense, getting T.J. Edwards and the linebacker from the Bills, and they still got J.J. and I mean, so they coming off the bus with that. It ain't vaulted Chicago Bears defense, but they'll make a some noise. And then they spent money on the offense. Got a Duzier, got Keenan Allen,
Hmm.
DJ
Swift.
Moore.
Got commit DJ Moore. So they coming off the bus with a nice offense with a quarterback who is fearless. One thing about Caleb Williams, he can spin the ball and he don't care, man. He'll throw that thing up. He'll give his guys a shot. You seen that when he was with at USC. You know, so I'm not. I think it's going to be a three-team race. Uh, Green Bay. I'm not the big Jordan Love fan. I think I need to see 1 or 2 more years of him actually proving it. That he can, you know, really grow in the offense and really, take his weapons to the next level. So I'm and then that defense for Green Bay is not as solid as everyone think they are. Um, and then for the Lions, um, losing that NFC Championship game the way they did, you up the whole game. They kind of pulled the Atlanta where they was up. All they had to do was just grind the clock, grind the clock, grind the clock. They started still throwing the
And if you
ball
look for,
around. You got your coach not taking field goals when you got a lead in every
I
point.
was just about to
You
say that
you
too.
you pulling away from San Francisco. You was up and you look now you tied and then you're down. Like, man, that's enough to those guys are going to be thinking about that what we could have did last year. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be facing the first place schedule. Everyone forgets that they're playing the first place schedule now. Detroit is not used to playing first place schedules. So, a lot of those teams that they were beating last year, they're not going to see those teams. They're going to see the cream of the crop, all playoff teams. And then they can't take the Vikings for granted. They can't take the Bears for granted. They got to come and play every week in that division, because it's going to be neck and neck. So I'm gonna do a hot take. I'm not gonna say the Green Bay. I'm not gonna say the Lions. I'm going Bears, man. I think the Bears shock everybody
Oh,
this year and win
Hey, I
that
wouldn't be
okay.
division.
surprised.
I'm saying the Bears, man.
Hey, I'm
You
looking
Look here,
forward
know.
to
The
the Bears
Bears.
too.
look here. I'm gonna send when we get off this thing. I'm gonna send some of y'all boy my Zelle account and my Zelle number. We gonna put some money on this stuff. 'Cause I ain't got no faith in none of these jokers y'all talking about. We can put some money on it. And so I'm gonna hop in here real quick, Mr. 411, before you get to go.
you you good?
So fellas, what I'm saying, I don't have a picture up here, man. I wouldn't if y'all can see that, that's Mr. 411 and our number one homeboy Dorian. And they were back in the day partying with Puffy. That's Puff Daddy on that picture right there. So so Mr. 411 been prime time for a long time. If y'all what I'm saying, he been
Oh
partying with
man.
that he back that party with Puffy. He didn't know I had the picture in the vault. So, but just to tell you, like I'm old school, man. I'm 49 years old, so I'm a little bit older, and so I can tell y'all this. The one thing that you take away from what the Lions did last year, and the kind of way that sports used to be, were there were always levels to it. There was none of this microwave. You just went and won. You had to go through the process. You learned by losing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing that I need to see from Detroit out of the gate. If they can win, you know, 3, 4 games in a row, 4 or 5 games in a row, I know that they're ready for it. I think they will win this division. Um, the one thing that I did like about Green Bay, and again, it's the old school thing. I remember them showing Jordan love during that playoff game against Dallas, and he never once looked like he was afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like the moment was never too big for him. And a lot of times that's what you get. You get guys out there, and again, that's what happened to to the Lions in that championship game. The moment got too big for them, and they couldn't. You know what I'm saying?
They
Hey,
couldn't finish it.
yeah, and that was that was the thing. Like Detroit had all of that. All of that hype and all of the losing and everything piled up on them. Like the years where they didn't make it to the playoffs, and the years since they had been to the NFC Championship, and all everything that was going on. And when they finally got through a couple of those humps, and they got like that, like I said, they got right there to the championship game, and it was
It
like you
was up
say,
24-7.
yes, you've got to take points. Like you say, what's my coach?
Campbell,
Dan
Campbell, Dan Campbell.
Campbell's gonna know now. Campbell's gonna know now. Points are premiums. I can't give points away. I don't give a damn if I got to kick 15 field goals.
Yeah,
I'll do
as
that.
long as you're
You know what I'm
winning.
saying? Yeah, as long as I'm a winner. Yeah. And so that's one of those things you go and you have an identity about your team. You know what I'm saying? Like when he went for it a couple of times, that's what Detroit had been all year. He wasn't veering from anything that he hadn't done before. It was just
Yeah,
sometimes he knows better now. He knows better. Hey, this is a tight situation. I can't, I got to be able to adjust and I got to be able to move around and I got to be able to do things a little bit different to be successful. And so that's just my, like I say, if you look in sports just about all the time, man, you find teams that go through stages. And that's how we love sports is like I said, y'all probably too young to remember, but like the old Detroit Pistons, man, those jokers had to go through. They had to win, then they had to learn how to beat. Uh, they beat
Boston.
up on Jordan, but then they
They
had
had
to
to
learn
beat
how to beat
Boston.
Larry.
They had to
Yeah,
beat
but then they had to
Boston,
learn how
man.
to beat Boston. Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But even before Boston, they had to learn how to beat the 76ers, who had
Oh
won
yeah.
championships. So, like, they had to learn how to beat their division, the guys on that side of it. Then they had to learn how to beat Boston, who was the better team. And then they had to learn how to beat the Lakers. And so, like, that's just the process of going through any sport. And that's the one thing I like about football is still in that stage where you have to learn how to work the progress. I think I believe that the Detroit Lions are going to win I'm putting them. I think they're gonna win the Super Bowl. Now that's my thing. I think they are. I
Well,
think
okay.
they're gonna
And I
get
What
want
one.
them
is
to
Well,
up
win the
with
okay.
Super
this?
So
Bowl.
we, that's
My that's
Antoine,
my big.
Antoine,
Yeah.
don't reveal all your Super Bowl picks yet.
Okay. But
Yeah.
that's okay. But hey, okay. If we're just going through, they're gonna win the division, and I think they're gonna win the NFC.
Okay.
All right.
So you have him representing the NFC.
Hmm.
Strong ending to the NFC North. Personally, I'm just gonna just throw my
Which
little
Jared
garnish
Goff
on
gonna
the
show
on
up?
the
That's my
top.
question.
Right. I'm gonna
Huh?
throw that. I'm gonna throw my garnishment at the top of this thing. I think Detroit, talent wise, and again, taking a little bit from you there about the experience, going through some things, losing at San Francisco. I think they're motivated this season to come back. They have a two-headed. They got two running backs that they can utilize throughout the season. I just feel like Detroit is probably the better team in this division, especially with
And
Minnesota
receiver.
losing their players, falling out of this thing. Yes, you got St. Brown as well, but they're primed to win a division. They're not going to be a surprise this time around. Green Bay, Chicago will go back and forth, in my opinion, but I have Green Bay second, Chicago third. Now, when I say second and third, that doesn't mean it's going to be like distances. They're going to be separated by a game or so, and then Minnesota bringing up the rear. That's what I have in the NFC North. And so, great conversation there, gentlemen. NFC West. We'll set the table here. This is the division of my team, the Seattle Seahawks. I
All
have them
right.
second in the West. Obviously, 49ers, I have them ahead of Seattle. What do you guys think? Let's say who went last. Who needs to go now? Who had to sit for a while? Was that
I'll take it. I'll take it.
okay, Philly?
All right. This is gonna
You
be
can kick us
quick,
off.
man. I think the Super Bowl loss for San Francisco, they'll feel that. I mean, the last Super Bowl they went to and they lost, it took them a while to recover from the way they lost. And I think the way they lost this time in overtime after having a lead in the Super Bowl and then only to lose to Pat Mahomes again, in that fashion, I think that's going to deflate them. and then all the contract stuff, guys holding out, and again, it was just a lot of noise around the team that wasn't positive. The Rams, I'm really liking the Rams. Matthew Stafford, I mean, yeah, he's long in the tooth, but with Puka Nakua, Kyron, and you got Cooper Cup, and then they got those young pups on defense, man. That's chomping at the bit. They basically a no-name defense, but those guys can play, and the scheme that they run fits, the talent that they have on defense. Um, so I'm really liking the Rams one, San Francisco two, your Seahawks, man. Changing the guard, going from the what was the old coach out? What was your old coach? I forgot his name.
Pete Carroll.
Uh,
Oh, you should
yeah,
Pete
Pete
Carroll used to
Carroll.
coach
Yeah,
at
going from Pete
yeah,
Carroll
Pete
to the
Carroll.
new guy, man. I
Hmm.
think that's positive because Pete Carroll was old school. He wanted to do things his way. He did it. He was successful. He choked the Super Bowl doing it his way, and then he
Okay, you have
never
to remind me of
rebounded. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I had to get that in there. I'm sorry.
All we had to
Uh,
do is run the ball. Okay, we got it. We get it.
yeah,
We
but
get it.
with
Same
Kenneth
thing in the Falcons.
Walker,
Same thing in the Falcons, man. Same thing. Same thing.
you got you got
Same thing. Same thing.
DK, you got DK, you got JSN, you got
Yeah,
Lockett.
Lock it.
The
yeah.
Yeah.
Still
wild
got like it.
card, you got Charbonnet, you got Walker. The wild card in
Hmm.
that offense is the same thing that I think the Detroit Lions is going to face is their quarterback.
Quarterback. Yeah,
Geno is
absolutely.
going to take a step back and be turned back into Geno Smith. He was playing above his head, and he's just gonna reel further and further back to being Geno. And until y'all find a young quarterback that y'all can build around, i.e., Sador Sanders, but I don't think y'all gonna pick high enough to get him. Um,
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
y'all gonna
Yeah. They'll
struggle
be there.
this year. And then who's the last team in that division? My gosh, I'm drawing a
Cardinals.
blank.
You got the
Cardinals.
Seahawks
Oh
Arizona,
and
man,
man.
again,
49ers.
Kyler.
Cards.
And
You got
49ers.
Kyler, you got Harrison, you got Connor, you got Trey Benson, Zay Collins, all those guys. I don't like
Vic-
their coach because he's a scumbag, man. He pretty much screwed my team in the Super Bowl, but that's for another day. Um, I I mean, I like what Kyler doing. He came back off the ACL, man. He played good ball. He is a weapon with his arm. For a small guy with his arm, with his legs, he is just a weapon. You got to account for him at every cost in every play, every blade of grass, because he can shimmy and shake his way to it and then throw the ball 80 yards, with a flick of a wrist. I.e., the old Mike Vick days. So, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at the Rams. I like San Francisco Cardinals, and then Seattle. So that's my prediction. That's what I'm sticking to.
All right, and
Absolutely.
before we go to Nard, right? Let me just touch on the Seattle thing. I see Seattle right in that 9-8, range right there, give or take a game or two. That's where I realistically feel the Seahawks will end up. I do like the change because it is time. At some point, you got to make that transition. And Pete Carroll's been great for Seattle. Revitalized the program, set a culture there, and I think they got the right guy who was a defense coordinator there in Baltimore. That's the right type of guy to bring over to Seattle. So I feel good about that. I said this when he was at Jackson State, and I'm gonna stick with it. Shador is gonna somehow end up on our team. Uh, we'll probably end up moving somebody in order to make it happen, but I think that that's the guy that we need
For
on
what?
on on the team. He's gonna be our future quarterback. All right, he's gonna be the future quarterback in Seattle.
You got to move him for what? You shouldn't have to move him.
I'm saying we
We'll
may have
talk
to
about
move
it.
somebody.
We're
We may have to move
no, no.
somebody to get in there. But yeah,
No,
we can talk
no,
about the
no,
draft
you
position.
won't. We can talk. No, we can talk about this off air if you want to. Y'all ain't gonna fin. Ain't no. Don't. These folks don't believe in that boy. I'm just telling you, it's too much. It's too much political stuff that goes along with Shador. He is. He's almost Lamar Jackson ish in the fact that he has the talent. He has what you need, but people act like they don't want to take him. And but you know. Go ahead. I
All
don't
right,
want to.
well,
I don't want to stop nobody else. I'll wait till my turn and then I'll throw my other little parts out of there with that.
okay, and then here's Seattle's schedule too. So, Nard, you can go ahead and move from here, and make sure you pass it over to Brooks after that about this West.
All right, I got you. So to me, my prediction for the NFC West is 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, and Cardinals. I feel like when I look at the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith is a very good quarterback. He could lead the Seattle Seahawks into the playoffs this year. And when I look at the schedule, it's not a bad schedule. They got pretty tough games. I got them going 9-8. And Seattle's defense is very good too. And quick mention, I'll be in the building week 7 when the Falcons take on the Seahawks at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yes, very
But
good.
Oh,
I hope to see you there.
what weekend is that? What weekend is that?
that's
It's
week 7,
October
20th.
26th, somewhere in there,
That's the
27th,
20th.
somewhere in there. Okay, yeah, it's October 20th, 20ish. Yep. So yeah, we
Okay,
definitely gonna be in the
I
house for
might be
that.
able to swing that one, Mister 401, because like early in that month, I'm an old man again. I got an anniversary that
Oh,
month, so I gotta think
oh,
about that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you got some,
I mean, but
yeah,
you look
long
at them. I mean,
days.
they got they got the jet like. Oh, go ahead, B. I'm sorry, man. I'm cutting folks off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think it was Nard, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Nard.
no, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry.
Now I'm looking at San Francisco. They got to get over this hump. They should have won the Super Bowl last season. They was up 10-0. Chiefs came back, won in overtime. The 49ers, when you look at those last previous seasons, made it to the NFC Championship game. Back to back, lost both of them to the Rams and the Eagles. The 49ers, if they don't win the Super Bowl, or if they don't at least get back to the Super Bowl, this year, the championship window is closing in San Francisco. So the 49ers got to get over the hump and make it to the Super Bowl and win it because they got the team, they got the coach, they got the roster. They just need to prove themselves and get over that hump. Now I'm looking at the Rams. How would this defense look without Aaron Donald? Will the defense still improve? Will they get better? Offense wise, they're really good. They got Matthew Stafford, Cooper Cup, Puka Nacua. He is amazing. The Rams going to be a solid team, and then the Cardinals, which I believe they'll be better this year. Kyler Murray coming back healthy, Marvin Harrison Jr. his number one weapon. I like Arizona this year at 7 wins.
That's a pretty solid season there
Nice.
for Arizona.
Yeah.
Seven
Yeah,
wins.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you go
Yeah.
ahead, Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco's roster, top to bottom, is the best in this division. Um, I'm not the biggest Brock Purdy fan. I think he's more of a system quarterback. And Shanahan, honestly, Shanahan doesn't need, I think Shanahan can work with that. He's one of those great offensive minds, and you give him weapons in a roster like that, and your quarterback can be a game manager, so to speak. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not willing to say Brock Purdy is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think that's my reservation. I just I like him, and I think he can. He's had stretches where he's really good, but he's had stretches when he's been mediocre to average as well. So, but still, there's just too much talent on this team. Uh, Shanahan, for all his flaws, he knows how to game plan, especially on the offensive end. And you still got Ayuk, you got Debo Samuel, you have all the weapons there. Uh, so there, you got McCaffrey, you got Kittle. I mean, there's just too many weapons. On the other side, you got Bosa. I mean, so there's just
Yeah.
too much talent top to bottom. Uh, for me to say anything but the 49ers here. But this is a solid division. Kyler Murray coming back from an injury. He's, you know, his, you can talk about whether he's motivated or not, but the talent's there. So I expect Arizona to be a little better with a full year of Kyler Murray if he can stay healthy. Stafford is a veteran. Can he stay on the field? Maybe. I'm from the Georgia fan. I'm interested to see if Stetson Bennett is going to get any real playing time this year because Stafford is older and is injury prone. So I'm looking at I'm trying to maybe see if Stetson Bennett can get some meaningful playing time this season. Um,
Not if they do it. Not if they throw a ball of pappy out there. His drunk ass is through.
he's sober now. He's sober now, man. Uh, but yeah, I think San Francisco should
That
win
what he
this
tell
division.
y'all.
Yeah, I think San Francisco wins this division. I think I could see a lot of scenarios for how 2 to 4 would play out. To be honest with you, I don't
Yeah,
think Arizona can get up to that 2, but you know I think Arizona could definitely surprise people and finish third. But I'm not sure how 2 to 4 to fall out. But I think San Francisco wins this division. I think they win it by a couple games too. So
yeah. It's their division to win. Now one thing we can do is bring back Steve Largent, and that would change things. If we can get him on the other side of DJ Metcalf. That would definitely change things. But
No,
until then, it's the 49ers division, guys.
Yeah.
Let's jump
okay,
to the
my bad.
South. Oh, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead, Brandon. Then we're gonna jump to the
No,
AFC
I think
South
I
after
got. Yeah,
you.
I think I got knocked loose. I don't know if that was bagged up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Brooks, I'm giving you a hard time, man. I'm an Auburn fan, and
oh god,
my yeah, I've been an Auburn fan. Hey man, shut up. Anyway, my no, because guess what? No, my daughter is a damn. She's at Athens. She's at UGA. So I've had to swallow it these last couple of years, and I can eke out Go Dogs without throwing up now. So
Oh,
I'll give it that much. One of you guys, one of you guys touched on the point a little bit earlier before I got on, and I listened in, and I'll do mine real quick too. Certain guys need to be coordinators; they don't necessarily need to be head coaches. Um, Shanahan kind of falls into that line. I think he's a great mind. I think he does great jobs being a coordinator. He just you lose a couple of Super. I mean, like I say, even the one in Atlanta, but you lose a couple of Super Bowls, man. When you or some games where you were there, and um, that's why I think real quick we'll go. San Francisco wins the division. I think, and again, the other three between the Rams, the Seahawks, and I said the
Oh, the
49ers,
Cardinals.
but the,
Cardinals.
and the
Yeah,
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
I,
Everybody
I
forget
think
about the
it is.
Cardinals.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with the Cardinals is a thing my man touched on a little bit earlier too, is when you have a bad record, you get that low seeded schedule. So it's going to be some guys where you're going in there and they have pieces. They've got Connor, they've got the tight end McBride, you got Harrison,
Hmm.
you got Kyler Murray,
Hmm.
and so you got some pieces and some parts on that Cardinals team, and everything. The Seahawks still have some of the. I think the Seahawks have kind of, like I say, it's going to have to be a changing of the guard there. I got Geno as one of my quarterbacks, and I got Metcalf, and I think you'll get some of the production out of some of those guys, but I don't think that they're going to duplicate what they did last year. So I got the 49ers, I got the Rams, I got the Seahawks, and then I got the Cardinals. But like you say, it's not going to be like, you know, one team and three losing seasons. You know what I'm saying? I think that you'll have it'll be a lot closer than everybody kind of thinks. And then, like you said, once you get into division games, all that stuff goes out of the window. The records and all those other things kind of go out of the window. So division games are always tight. Like you say, the 49ers just have too much talent on both sides of the ball. They just have to, they just got to get over themselves. That's the biggest thing about the 49ers.
Well, I
Oh
think we
man.
lost you there, Brandon, briefly. But you were talking about the 49ers and seeing if they can get over that hump, the proverbial Super Bowl hump. And we'll definitely when we get to Super Bowl predictions, I'm curious to see how many people on this panel select San Francisco.
I'm telling you, that Super Bowl hangover, man, after losing is real, bro. I'm
Yeah.
letting y'all know that, man.
Okay.
That crap is real.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, let's shift to the east, and hopefully Torn can get back in there with us. I mean the AFC, excuse me.
AFC.
And
Okay.
Can you hear me?
yeah,
Ye-
no,
Yeah,
we heard you
yeah,
did. The last thing we heard
yeah.
of you was about the 49ers Super Bowl kind of getting over that hump.
Yeah, well, and that was all I said. Yeah, that was that was just
Okay.
there. They gotta you can't lose a 10 point lead in the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter. What I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
I like to say I understand you saying the hangover, but I think they you got too many veteran guys there, and I don't think that'll affect them that much. But you gotta you that window is small, so
All
Yes, as
right.
small as Brock Purdy.
All right. Well, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I thought we had him here.
good one.
All
That's
right.
a
I thought
good
we
one.
had Cole from the low, but we'll get his predictions in a few minutes. Let's go ahead and shift gears while we still have time
Oh,
on the clock. Let's switch to the AFC South, gentlemen. Uh, who's coming out of the South? Is this division strictly for the Houston Texans? Is it just their division that to be had?
Oh man, Brooks, you started off, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I as somebody, I was a huge CJ Stroud fan. What he did to Georgia, uh, when we faced him in the playoffs, I was impressed, and he had himself a hell of a rookie season. Um, they brought over Stephon Diggs. That's going to help with his weapons. Um, you know, they brought in Joe Mixon at running back, who's a solid veteran running back. The CJ, yeah, he got a playoff win last year as a rookie too. So I'm impressed with this Houston team. I think they're a pretty popular pick for Super Bowl pick. Um, I think Jacksonville will have something to say. I think they have a solid roster. Uh, Trevor Lawrence, I think it's a prove it year for him. He's shown flashes. He's been up and down. He's had injuries. I think he puts it together this year. Even what he still threw for he still threw for 4,000 yards, I believe, and so does C.J. Stroud. Even and both of them missed time. So impressive years from them, even with the injuries. So I think it's Houston's division. I think Jacksonville has something to say. Uh, Will Levis is going to be running for his life. So so I don't see Tennessee doing much. Indianapolis, um, look, man, Anthony Richardson is just raw to me. I
And
like the
watch out for the
talent.
Colts this year.
I like the talent, and I like the skill set of Anthony Richardson, but I just think he's a development project. I just don't know if he can. Again, he's one of those people. I don't know if he can stay. Can he stay healthy for a 17 game season? Uh, so I'm not sure what to think about the Colts. But I do think Houston and Jacksonville are the upper echelon of this division, and I would definitely favor Houston in this division, even though I think Jacksonville uh, will keep it interesting. But it's Houston's division to lose with C.J. Stroud. He's already a top maybe 6 or 7 quarterback already. Um, and so, you can pencil him in for 10, 11 wins for here on out if he's going to play at that level. So I think it's Houston.
All
yep.
right. Uh, okay, Nart. You was about to say something there about the Colts. So, I mean, do you have
So I'll
Houston
go
at the top?
next.
And then if so, who you have after Houston?
For my AFC South predictions, I got the Texans, the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Titans. My thoughts on this division: the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud is a phenomenal quarterback. Nobody expected the Houston Texans to make the playoffs last year with a rookie quarterback, and this was his first year in the NFL. Won a playoff game, won the NFC South. The
Rookie
Houston
coach.
Texans, yeah, rookie coach, good point. And the Houston Texans could make the AFC Championship game if they avoid the Chiefs in the first 2 rounds. Now
Wow.
with the
That
Colts, I got the
Nah.
Colts making the playoffs at 10-7. I feel like Anthony Richardson will stay healthy. They got a good offense, good defense, good coaching. The Colts were 1 yard away last year from making the playoffs. I think they'll bounce back this year and get into the playoffs with Anthony Richardson fully healthy. The Jaguars could end up winning that division. They'll make it interesting if Trevor Lawrence can stay healthy. They got the guys, they got the defense. Doug Peterson, he's a good coach. I like what I see in Jacksonville so far. And then the Titans, I don't expect that much. They got Will Levis as their quarterback, Calvin Ridley as their receiver. And do they still have DeAndre Hopkins?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, they still
Oh,
got D Hop.
Hopkins is he's still there, but yeah, like it's yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
the receiver formerly known as DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, but
yeah.
uh,
he's
So
not the
but
same. You know, he's not that level that we once known. But I mean, he's still good. But yeah, that
he's
team is
still
not looking
good.
too good.
He
Yeah,
he could be on most teams. You know, like he's a guy where you want like a second third option on the team. You know, he's not the number one guy anymore, but he's definitely if he's on the right team, which I'm gonna predict this, and I'm my bad, B. I don't mean to cut you off, man, but I'm predicting this. Hopkins will not finish the season in Tennessee. He will be on somebody's team before the end of the year.
oh yeah, he'll be on the contender for sure.
Yeah.
all right.
Well,
So
and if
just
I
Okay.
can go real quick, the same thing. This is Houston's kind of division to lose. Um, we saw kind of glimpses, like you said, with Richardson and his ability to learn how to um, these are professionals now. You know what I'm saying? Like you used to be the biggest guy out there on the field. Now you're not. You know, you got linebackers and safeties. You got safeties your size. You know what I'm saying? You got linebackers, you got people that are willing to hit you. And if you put yourself in the position to get hit, they're going to hit you. So if he can stay healthy, I put the Colts probably second in this division because, like you said, he's just raw. He's he was probably that kid when he was coming along. He was just so much better than everybody else that he didn't have to learn a lot of the nuances about being a quarterback and some of the things that go along. But having to sit from the middle of last season all the way through, if the Colts did their job, they were out there teaching him while he was sitting. And so I think he'll come back at a better situation. The only thing that I do not like about Houston, and I think they got everything, Stephon Diggs is one of those kind of Antonio Brown guys. He has the talent, he has the ability to do and be a game changer. But when he gets out there, and Stroud is, this is gonna be his second year. When he gets out there and he's not getting enough balls thrown his way, and he's gonna get out there and he's gonna try to get in his face and he's gonna get out there and try to, you know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys, man, that like I said, when he's good and then he's bad. Now, if he comes in and is good, Stephon Diggs, and is not a deterrent to the team and not detriment to the team and not a down player, then they could really go far. You know what I'm saying? They have the contention. They have they got, Collins got hurt. I mean, yeah, he got hurt. Tank Dell, you got speed. You got uh, Schultz that used to be in Dallas. Like you said, you brought Joe Mixon in. You still had Pierce from a couple years ago. So you got pieces. You got guys and you got pieces and you got the parts that you need to win. You just can't have that that internal distraction bringing your team down. And who, so like I said, so we got Houston,
Like
we got
Yeah,
the Colts, we got the Jags,
Tennessee and the
and then
Jag.
in Tennessee, like you say,
Yeah.
Tennessee. The only thing Tennessee is setting up now, you got guys that are auditioning for playoff teams later on
Okay.
because they are horrible, and that's just what they are. They got a long way to go. I mean, I don't think Levis is, you know, the way the NFL is now. You can't really hurt quarterbacks, but he's not but you don't have enough around him to do anything.
Yes, sir. Very good. Before you go, Philly Red Zone,
Yes, sir.
tackle this division, before you tackle this division, I'm going to say I think D'Amico Ryans he set the culture there. I think that was probably the best move they made. Um, outside of getting CJ Stroud. I think that was the best move there. Houston wins this division. I think the Colts finished second this year. Again, the only thing I have is the injury. If Richardson can avoid injury, run safely, then I think they'll finish second. Then the Jaguars in a tight third, and then of course we already know about the Titans. So nothing there to be said. What you got there, Philly?
All right, I'm gonna start at the bottom, work my way to the top. All right, let's just
Yes, sir.
start. Let's get the Titans out the way. They're horrible. Their offensive line is horrible. Their running backs are horrible. Their receiver, Calvin Ridley, is the bright spot, but the rest of the team is horrible. Tight ends horrible. I like Will Levis, but he's a year or two away. And I don't even think he'll be a quarterback there in a year or two. I think with them going with a new coach, the ownership, they don't have a clue. So that we just get them out the way. They're gonna be in the cellar. My third team that I have coming out of the AFC South is going to be the Colts. AR 5. I mean, he's a big guy. He's fast. He looks the part. He looked like Lamar, but he's not Lamar. The guy can't read defenses. He's a one read and run. That's what got him hurt last year. Like you said, he was always the biggest guy on the field, so he can get away with that. And now when you got linemen, 330-pound linemen running 4.6s, and them guys is chasing him down and falling on him and separating his shoulder, yeah, he was on the sideline, and the coaches can talk to him all day. Hey, when you see the linebacker do this, you do this. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing when the bullets is flying and the line is moving and guys is running. You need to be able to read it on the fly. And it was a
Right.
hot take in when they did an inner squad with the Bengals this past training camp. The Bengals players was laughing at him because they were saying, dude, all you do is run. Like, are you a running back or a quarterback? Because he was locking in on his one receiver Pittman. They was doubling Pittman, and then he would run. So it wasn't like he was breaking down to be able to, you know, be a precision passer. So he needs to learn how to do that. He needs to now that his shoulder's good. Hopefully he took that time. But I know in the off season, if your throwing shoulder jacked up, it's not much you can do. So they'll be in third. Second place is the Jags. The Jags, with ETN, with Sunshine, they got that kid Brian Thomas out of LSU. Gabe Davis is horrible. Christian Kirk can't stay healthy. Um, and Evan Ingram is a solid tight end. They got some pieces on defense with Allen and a few other guys that they picked up in the offseason.
Mac.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, they'll be there. They'll be fighting with Houston
Not Mac.
early in the first half of the season, but I think Houston pulls away
Not Mac.
with the division with about 12 or 13 wins. I mean, I like what D'Amico is doing with that squad. Uh, you know, C.J. Stroud, Diggs, Mixon, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. Then you got uh, Will Anderson on the other side. You got the guy they got from Minnesota, the other end on the other side, man. They got those young
Damn, I forgot
DBs.
about Will Anderson. Shit.
Yeah,
Damn.
man, they got linebackers, man. And
Yeah.
D'Amico got those guys flying around. And I'm gonna just say this: I ain't giving my Super Bowl pick, but I put my money where my mouth is. I like the Texans. I'm bullish on the Texans. So
Okay.
let's go.
All right. There.
So
Got a teaser there. I think I can predict your Super Bowl. Well, but we'll find out officially though. We'll find out
yes, sir.
officially.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right, guys. Let's run through the West real quick. For me, I think it's Kansas City's division. What say you, Nard?
All right.
I can go real quick. Kansas City and everybody else is trash.
All right. So that's two. That's two down.
Yeah, Kansas City and
Yeah,
All right.
everybody else is
it's
anybody else that decides to man up. And I'm a charge. I want to be a Chargers guy, but it's Kansas City, and then whoever decides to show up for the rest of the season for those other
yeah,
three spots.
Okay.
yeah,
All right, Nard.
All right.
and that's easy.
This division belongs to the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's even no question about it. As long as Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, and Andy Reid are in that division and they stay healthy, this division belongs to the Kansas City Chiefs for the next 10 plus years. You look at their division, the Raiders suck, the Chargers suck, the Broncos suck. And let me go ahead and say this about the Raiders right now. Devontae Adams need to go ahead and request a trade. Just go ahead and get out of there, man.
He tried, man. The owner said he ain't going nowhere. He signed a contract.
Oh,
Yeah,
He
and that's the
tried.
sucky thing about that's the sucky thing for Devontae. Yeah, they're not gonna let him because I
Yeah.
mean they don't want to let him out of there because but you know what I'm saying he's the only thing they let Josh Jacobs go. You know what I'm saying you got rid of Jacobs, which was
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying you let him go. They're not gonna let Devontae Adams go because I mean at that point you
Yeah,
have absolutely nothing over there. I mean
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
They got Brock
That
Bowers, but
sucks.
he a year or two away.
Not on the defensive side of the ball.
I know
You
they
ain't
ain't
got
got
shit.
nothing.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't got shit. You ain't got nothing that's gonna get people. You know what I'm saying? At least Devontae Adams, somebody can say we can come out there and see him play. But yeah, if you
Yeah.
let him go,
You know, you had some more on that West.
yeah, I like to talk about the Chargers real quick. The Chargers, I don't really know how they're going to look on paper because Justin Herbert in the offseason lost all of his offensive weapons. Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Jared Everett, all of them are gone. So I don't know how the Chargers going to look on paper, but all I know is the coaching will be very good with Jim Harbaugh. They needed a very good coach. Hopefully, he gets the Chargers to where they need to be in the future. And the Broncos, I would love to see what Bo Nix is going to do this year.
Mm. Yeah,
I
I
you
think
mean,
he's
know,
going to be
because
solid.
hey, yeah,
I will say
again,
this. I like how Bo looked in the preseason so far, and I think that's already exceeded my expectations. So I'm interested to see how he develops this season in a division that they're not going to win.
yeah,
Where you had
you
Dethrone?
know, yeah, again, an old Auburn guy. You know what I'm saying, Bo. You know, like I said, at first I was down on him a little bit, but like you said, watching him in the preseason and seeing that he has, he's developed a little bit better and he's figuring out how to be a pro style quarterback. In the NFL, he's one of those guys that, like I said, the way the NFL is set up now, it's a lot more forgiving than it used to be. You can get away with being not so accurate, not so um
Mhm.
you don't have to be Peyton Manning, you don't have to be Tom Brady coming in. You can be a guy that can learn how and figure out what your niche is and be an effective NFL quarterback. Um and I think Bo, he's able to run the ball. Um, and so that was a good point about that. I like he showed me a little bit more than I was giving him credit for. Um, but again, you get rid of for the Chargers, like you said, you get rid of so much offensive. You know what I'm saying? You get rid of so much on the
Offensive talent.
offensive side of everything. Like you say, everything on that you had is gone. Allen, Williams, Eckler, everything that you had offensively is gone. So it's like, and that's the NFL now. The NFL is about, scoring points and moving the ball. And they have a good defense. They've always had a good defense. Again, I say I was a Chargers fan, and I don't mean to take over the time. Stokely was the worst fucking coach in NFL history. I don't know. You could have let the damn guy that won Madden the last 5 years coach the damn team better than Stokely. He was horrible.
Stanley
That
still
joker,
lost
Yeah.
in the playoff game
he
against the
So
was
true.
Jaguars.
fucking horrible, man. And so,
Yeah.
and so again, I don't mean to take nobody's time because I said my part, but this is probably going to be a year for the Chargers, man. They're going to tank. They'll probably hold.
Oh, did we lose somebody? We lost Brandon. Okay. Well, we lost Brandon, but let's get it back to Brooks there for the West. What do you got, man?
Yeah, I like what the Chiefs did at receiver. Retooling their receiving core. They brought in Hollywood Brown. Rasheed Rice was a solid rookie last year. They brought in Smith Schuster, who's a solid veteran. And they added Xavier Worthy from Florida State. And by all accounts, it looks like they're just going to try to get him the ball in different ways to use his athleticism. So I really like what the Chiefs did with that receiving core. As far as their defense goes, they're underrated defense. You got one of the best defensive players in the league in Chris Jones. So that defense is solid. So this Chiefs team definitely uh, primed to have another good season. Um, you think about, we talk about the Chargers, and again, you gotta when you have such poor coaching, when you replace them with, we know what Harbaugh is. He's proven. I don't like him. I don't like his methods, but he wins. He wins wherever he goes. So you got to think, him coming in, Justin Herbert, you know, one of a top tier quarterback. You think they're gonna. I think they're going to have a good season. I know they lost Keenan Allen, but they have the second year player in Quentin Johnson. They drafted Lad McConkey, who I think is going to surprise some people. They got DJ Shark Jr., so I think that's a solid receiving core. So I'm looking at them to surprise some people, and kind of agree with what's already been said. And here's the thing about the Chiefs. I don't think they care when the playoffs come around. I don't think they care where they go. We on the road, we at home, we have the 1 seed, we don't. I don't think they
Chiefs are
care.
the Chiefs.
Yeah, they got Patrick Mahomes. They don't care. I think they'll sacrifice. Yeah, I think they'll sacrifice some regular season success for things like health, for example, to rest their players. So they might not just be. They. I think their end goal is the Super Bowl. They want to position themselves to get into the playoffs, and they don't really care where that's seating. I think they're good enough at this point to kind of keep it an idle in the regular season. So I think the Chargers have a chance to sneak in and win that division. I think Denver is going to be better. I'm not a big Bo Nix fan. I'm just watching him being in the SEC. He is a veteran. He is a seasoned college player. So maybe not as much development as you would think from a rookie quarterback being in college for all those years. So we'll see. Again, I'm not a big fan, but Sean Payton's a solid coach. So we'll see. Vegas, I don't think has a quarterback. I think they're riding with Aiden O'Connell, but I do. Brock Bowers. As a Georgia fan, interested to see how his season's going to go. I know for me, he's an elite talent. So hopefully, Aiden McConnell maybe can develop and use those weapons around him. They have Devontae Adams as well, so maybe he can make some strides. But my thinking is, I think the Chargers may have a little bit more motivation for the regular season to prove themselves, to go out and win that division. But KC, they'll be there. Again, I'm not sure how their motivation is as far as wanting to win the division. I think they just want to win Super Bowls at this point. They want to go for their three-peat. They just want to get into the playoffs. I'll take the Chargers to sneak out the division. But I mean that by no means means that they're gonna outlast Kansas City in the playoffs. So.
And I agree with you on the point that you said about Kansas City, and that was evident from last year. Once they had because they had to go. Did they have to go on the road for like 2 of the playoff games, or at least the
I think
championship
one. Yeah.
one? But it was at
Yeah.
least.
They went to Baltimore, right?
Yeah, they went to Baltimore.
Yeah, I was gonna say for at least the championship game, that was that was a big thing. Well, Mahomes has to go on the road to win a championship game, and they beat up Baltimore. It wasn't like it was they beat Baltimore up. So I totally agree with you. I think now they're at the point where now they're like, as long as we get in the playoffs, we'll win. I still think they'll win the division because everybody else isn't going to win enough games, anywhere else. And just head up, man. Just head up. They're not gonna lose to. They're not gonna lose to the Chargers twice. They're not gonna lose to the Broncos twice, and
Yeah, I
they're
feel like
not
they're
gonna
going to
lose.
split in their division. They're going to split.
and then
Yeah.
okay, if they, like you say, if you go through and split, then it's like okay, your record, and they'll beat everybody else because just everybody else won't.
Yep.
Like you
So
said, that was a good point. That was a great point that you said about that. And again, I hate Georgia. I know you don't like Auburn so much, and that's coming through in your picks. But I think Lad McConkey is a underrated kind of receiver. He puts you in the mind of he's a good route runner. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing that he is. He put Cooper Cupish. You know what I'm saying? Like he puts you in the mind of he's got some speed, and people underestimate him, and he does. He's one of those guys that kind of beats you a lot of times because you don't give him the respect that you need to give
yeah,
him,
yeah.
and he beats you off the line. He beats you, and he can run precise routes. So you're right. I mean, I don't. Again, I like the Chargers, but I don't believe them this year.
So it's
All
gonna be
right.
the Chiefs
I'm a
divisions,
I'm a
everybody.
I'm gonna make this short and quick with the AFC West. I mean, it's a one-team race. It's the Chiefs. The Chargers, not a chance. Herbert is the shell of himself. The guy already got a foot injury. No one's talking about that. And I don't know if he had plantar fasciitis or whatever he had, but the man was just got out of a walking boot. So I don't see him, and he needs to be mobile in order to be Justin Herbert.
Hey, Philly
He's
Red Zone.
yes
Can
sir.
I throw this in real quick? I don't mean to cut you off, but did
Uh huh.
they signed they signed Tyler Heineke um,
Oh,
from the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they
The
did.
Yeah.
Chargers signed Heineke,
Uh
and
huh.
and he is that's why, and I just want to throw this in there. That's why I believe what you're saying. I think they're probably going to tank Herbert for this year. They're going to let Heineke because he can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think they're just going to tank, and they're just going to try to find a way to get him some pieces around him. And you're right about that. Herbert used to be a top five quarterback, and he is. I got 5 leagues with that motherfucker sitting there right now.
Yeah. I would leave him right on the waiver wire. Um.
Yeah, and that's where
but
he is. Yeah.
yeah.
right.
But yeah, no. So coming up, being number two in that AFC West, um, is da-da-da-da. Oof, that's hard, man. Damn, they
I
all
got the
stink.
Raiders at
Other than
two.
the case, the Chiefs. I mean,
Just throw them all up in
I'll
there and
say,
whichever one lane.
yeah, I'll say Denver. I'll say the
You ain't
Raiders,
wrong.
and then the Chargers last. I just don't like the
Any,
Chargers.
anybody
So.
else, you ain't wrong. Shit, it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. The rest of the
So
There's
motherfuckers
any
suck.
of them.
yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
Gardner Minshew was the worst, man. Oh my gosh, I can't. Yeah. How did
So
they
I
luck
think,
up and have
Uh,
those horrible quarterbacks in that division?
well, that's the way the old cookie crumbles, guys. Hey, we got two divisions left. So
Yes, sir.
AFC East. I'm gonna throw it out there. I think the top two teams right here that's gonna battle it out are the Bills and the Dolphins.
Yep.
Uh, what say you guys? And
Ooh,
The
Bills,
Dolphins winning
Dolphins.
that
I like the
division.
Jets. Don't forget about the Jets. I mean, with
Hey, the
AR
you
Jets can
like
with
hold
them?
their
A with
own and win
AR
that division.
12 AR 12 healthy. Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall. Listen, they
Brees Hall. Hey,
yeah.
Mm.
Ooh.
Solid's gonna have a solid defense. He's got,
Oh,
that's been the thing the last couple of years. They've had that defense. You know what I'm saying? Like the defense, they got a solid defense. They got a defensive minded coach. So Solid's gonna keep them there. You got some offensive pieces. So you're right. We were thinking it's going to be a two pony race, but it really is. It could be the Jets might surprise people, and they're going to get that soft schedule.
mm-hmm.
Um, they're going to get that soft schedule for losing the last couple of years, so they're not going to have to play the number one team coming through every time. So
Yeah. Yeah. So so yeah, I think the AFC East is a three-team race. If I had to pick, oh man, oof, I'm gonna go Miami. I'm gonna go to Jets, and then I'm gonna go to Bills. I think the Bills losing Stephon Diggs, losing.
Ooh,
I mean, they
Yeah.
just lost Milano
Ooh,
on
yeah.
defense. They lost Tre'Davious White. They lost Edmonds on defense. Man, they lost a lot
Yeah,
of
the Bills lost a
defense.
lot
Man,
of guys.
they still got Ed Oliver and a couple guys, but Ed Oliver haven't showed up in like 2 years, man. Um, so yeah, I
Last
think
year.
so. I think Miami. I think Miami squeak out and win that division, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets shock everybody with Rodgers being healthy, and then the Patriots, man, they still trying to finagle Tom Brady to come back, which ain't happening. So yeah, that's
Yeah, to me, I got the Dolphins winning the division. I'm going with I got Dolphins,
oh,
Jets, Bills, and Patriots.
all right. So Nard has Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Patriots. What say you, Brooks?
Yeah, I mean the Jets. First of all, Hassan Reddick is away from the team. I think he's holding out. They really need to get that done and get him back. He's one of their better defensive players. Still a solid defense without them. Uh, you know, again, we mentioned Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. That's they're solid. What can Aaron Rodgers give you? I mean, Aaron Rodgers hadn't played football in a long time. Okay, I mean, what's he going to be? That's a big question mark before you can just go and say the Jets can compete for this division. You just got to see him play. I don't know how anybody could have confidence in picking the Jets without seeing Aaron Rodgers play. So that's the big question mark for them. I like Miami's one of those flashy teams who I think when it gets into that cold weather season, I think they fade.
Oh
I
yeah.
think they're predictable in that nature. Can again, we talk about injuries, but I mean, Tua is one of those. Tua is one of those guys. Are you going to be able to give you 17 games? Because he's injury prone. The New England Patriots have one of the worst offensive lines in the league up there with Carolina. Uh, I think they're intentionally not starting Drake May because they don't want him running for his life in his rookie season. Um, so I think that's why they named I think they're just protecting him, and they're just saying Jacoby Brissett, just go do it.
You the
Have fun with
sacrificial
that.
lamb out here.
Yeah, yeah. Buffalo. I mean, Josh Allen is an elite quarterback. So let's start right there. What do we
I got
know?
them winning
He's the
that West
best
this year.
quarterback. He's the best quarterback in this division. Okay, Dalton
No
Kincaid.
question.
Their receiving core is iffy. Dalton Kincaid, I like him. I think he's an up and coming tight end. I think he's gonna be a solid weapon for Josh Allen. As long as he's there, I look at this division. I'm just unsure of a lot of things in this division, but I am sure that he's the best quarterback. And I don't know what that means as far as I think the Bills do win the division. The record, I couldn't tell you, but that's my only reasoning. I'm going to go with the Bills because Josh Allen's clearly the best quarterback in this division.
And if I can, I can hop in, and that's the one thing that we base just about everything else on: best quarterback, the best team. If you got the best quarterback, then you probably got the best team in the division. If you go through everybody else that we've broken down, well, other than the 49ers, which but just about everybody else, if you go and take the breakdown, the best quarterback is they're the best leader on the best team. Um, I believe in Josh Allen a lot more than I believe in most of the other guys. Um, the one thing the NFL does need to do, man, you can't have three teams that are in damn up that far up north, and then you still got Miami down south. Switch that up. Put the Colts in the
Yeah,
NFC East, and then you got
that
like
used to
you got
be.
Jacksonville. Yeah, you got Jacksonville and Miami, and they're both they're 200 miles apart, but then they're
Yeah.
both
Can
playing
I can
teams
I
up
touch on
north.
that for a second? Can I touch on that for a second, brother?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Geographically, that makes total sense. And I believe that they probably want to oversee that by just keeping that history between the rivalry games between Miami and Buffalo, Miami, New England, and Miami and the Jets when the AFC back in the day used to have all those shootouts. And I think they
yeah,
trying to
but you
keep that together, kind of like how they keep in Dallas in the NFC East, and they're in Texas. and they just keep them in the East. You know what I'm saying? Because of those traditional rivalries that they've had, and it's kind of built in, through the veins of the league. So that I think that's why they're doing that. But geographically, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and to a point, once we, if I could throw this in real quick, once we start evolving, because like you say, me and you are the old heads in this thing, man. Like once we start moving away, and some of you guys are a little bit younger. I don't know everybody's age, but are anybody over 40? Any of you guys over 40?
Yeah.
But here's the set. But but
No, I'm just,
but
okay.
brother,
You over 40, and that's cool. But okay, but that's just what I'm saying. Like, and that's my point. The two guys that are kind of giving us the more controversial, or I'm not saying controversial, but my man, the B guys, both of them are seeing the NFL in their eyes in the way that they see the game now. Why would I not have Jacksonville playing Miami when I can get, that's I can get to that game. I'm not driving
okay.
from fucking New England. I'm not driving from New
But
England to Miami to play you know what I'm saying, like a regular season game. Yeah, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that would make more sense. I can drive from Jacksonville to get to Miami. You know what I'm saying? I can go from
but
there to there to play.
very good points. But let's see what Nard thinks about that. Nard, have you ever even thought about Dallas being outside the NFC East? Have you ever thought of Miami being outside the AFC East? Or has that even mattered to you?
No, I feel like the way the NFL has these divisions set with these 14, it's perfect.
You like it like that?
Oh yeah, I like it like that.
And I say that in the sense of, if we're looking at this from purely a a a money standpoint. Again, like last year, I had to go. I went to a Falcons game. Atlanta's closest place to us, and so, like, for a lot of us, it's easy to get to Atlanta. You know, I went to Atlanta, and they played the damn they played the Steelers. That was, last year. Year before. Anyway, it was just as many Steelers fans in the damn seats as it was Falcons fans. So I understand that part of it. I really do. You get teams that can, like, sometimes you're in the division that you're kind of, a little bit farther away, that you can kind of you can make it to some of the games. But if you look at the AFC North, you got the Bengals, you got
The
the
Ravens.
Pittsburgh
Ravens,
That's our next
Pittsburgh,
division we got to cover. That's the one we got to
and
cover too
and
next.
and Cleveland.
you,
Cleveland,
everybody's you know
Pittsburgh.
what I'm saying? Like, yeah, everybody, but everybody is, like,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
geographically.
You have a good evening. All
You
right.
know what I'm saying? Like, that's
But
like, that's a makeable game. I could drive from
yeah,
Cleveland. I could drive to Cleveland. Even to Baltimore. Like, I can
yeah.
get to that
But
game. I'm not
but
driving
man,
from damn Miami to go to New
and
England.
no,
I can't make
you're
that
gonna
game.
fly.
No, that's a
You
long
You're
gotta
flight.
gonna
get a
fly.
spirit flight.
You're gonna fly. You're gonna spend $150 and fly there.
I
There you
know,
go.
but
That's what you're gonna do.
okay. So, but okay, and you're
Or
right.
Miami's
If
gonna
I
sell
want to
that
make
home game out. That's their home game. So the people in Miami gonna go to
okay,
that.
but so how many times? And again, we look at this. My man says the Saints fan. How many? I lived in Atlanta. I lived in Carrollton, Georgia. You know how many times the game sold out when it was in damn Fulton? Like when it was in Fulton County Stadium. The only
Oh,
time the games you can see on TV was when we played the fucking Saints. We couldn't see nobody else because, like, nobody else was close to us. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Like the Saints, they would come to
But
Atlanta because that was a division
mhm.
game and you could make that little ride there. But like, you're not driving all the way from Dallas to Atlanta to damn,
Well,
well, it
oh
was
yeah,
never
no,
Dallas,
no. Yeah, your point's well
but you know
taken,
what I'm saying?
Brandon. I
Like,
mean that is not
it's just
geographically
that.
the same.
Yeah, and so that's where that. Well, I know we're way off point,
Yeah,
and
let's
this is
get
not
back.
what I
Let's
meant
come
to
back
do.
around for just a
yeah.
second. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I want to say
but
this. I just want to throw this in.
yes, sir.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers used to be in the NFC. What we know now is the NFC North. Tampa Bay used to play Detroit in
Yep.
same division as Detroit and Minnesota, so they fixed that
Hmm.
one. The
Hmm.
Falcons and the Saints used to be in the NFC West. They fixed
West,
that.
yes. With the
The
Cardinals and the 49ers,
and the
yeah.
Arizona and the Cardinals, Phoenix Cardinals, however, St. Louis Cardinals, whoever, they used to be in the
Yeah.
NFC East. So they did move some of it around, and I guess they decided to kind of, we just can't move everybody, I guess, but they
Yeah,
did try to shift some of that stuff around. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the end
And
of the
I
day, I
think
guess you're not
now
gonna get everybody there.
yeah,
I know, and again, when it's so much old school that's associated with it. And again, if you
Yeah,
guys, like I say, Brooks and no, if you guys understand and you guys are cool with it, and y'all are some of the younger fans,
yeah.
then I guess we leave it alone. But it's just saying like everything that's coming
Hey
along
man.
with the younger generation, and it's no knock on y'all. It's not a knock at all. It's just to understand, like you say, if I
They,
want to go, I can drive to Carolina and see a game. I can drive to New Orleans and see a game, and I would probably drive to Tampa Bay to see a game. None of that's
and,
like it's none of that's really crazy. You know what I'm saying?
and man,
But
you
again,
got me thinking one more
I'm
thing,
not
Swan.
driving from Miami to damn New England to watch a football. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right,
can't. That is
right.
that's you
Okay.
can't do that. Even if
All
you
right. So
fly, that's a
hey,
damn three
let's
hour
let's get
flight.
let's get the NFC East done and the NFC and
Yeah,
the
quickly
Okay.
before
NFC
we
East
move
and
on to the
North
North.
done, and then we'll move forward. And also don't forget, there's been expansion over the years too, like with the Jacksonville
Yeah.
being added, and Carolina being added,
Yeah.
and all that
Did
too.
not
But
did
not
you put
bad.
your points in? Did you put
So
yours in?
go ahead, go ahead and get your NFC East wrapped up, and then we're gonna
Yeah,
go from
I
there.
didn't mean to cut y'all. I didn't mean to cut y'all off, man. I'm sorry.
You good, you good. So I got the Dolphins winning this division because I feel like Tua will be better. They got the offense, they got the defense, they got the head coach and Mike McDaniels. So I got the Dolphins winning this division. They should have won the past 2 seasons because they wasn't healthy. If the Dolphins stay healthy, they'll win this division. The Jets, I
Yeah.
got them in second place. If Aaron Rodgers stay healthy, they're automatically a playoff team. Good offense, good defense, good head coach. Buffalo, I got them third at 9-8. They'll be a solid team. And then New England is in the rebuild.
All right. Anybody else on the East? Or are we good there on the
that's it.
East?
Oh, we good.
We
Okay.
good.
All right. Well, we are the final division, and then we got Super Bowl predictions after that. NFC North. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Three teams made the playoffs. Uh, can we get four teams in the playoffs, gentlemen?
Hey, we can.
No,
No.
Okay. So everybody says
Two
no
no,
will
there.
make it this
All right.
year.
no,
That was a bit
Baltimore
of
and
a stretch.
Cincinnati.
no,
All right.
no.
So kick us off there, Brooks, with the North.
We won't get three.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think I would favor Baltimore here. Lamar Jackson, despite what you think of him in the playoffs, regular season, he's been solid. I like this roster. I like the young receivers, Zay Flowers, um, Mark Andrews at tight end. I mean, they got a solid team. Um, so I think it's theirs to lose. Cincinnati is a dark horse for me. Can how's Joe Burrow going to look? We got so many quarterback health issues that could swing so many divisions, and Joe Burrow's one of them. When he's healthy, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Um, so that's a wild card for me. Pittsburgh, I just don't believe in the Russell Wilson Justin Fields combination. Uh, I think Justin Fields will eventually probably take over. I just think Russell Wilson doesn't have it anymore. Maybe he can manage the game for them, but I think there's too much. Justin Fields has too much talent to be on this bench with an aging quarterback like Russell Wilson in front of him. So I think he may eventually take over that job. Uh, Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, again, another quarterback question. He's been hurt. Can they get a full season of Deshaun Watson? That defense is elite. Uh, so there again, I think this is a tough division to predict. There's so
Yeah.
many variables here. I don't think Pittsburgh has a chance to win it. I could if you can talk me into Cleveland, Cincinnati, Baltimore, either one of those as the winners. I'm going to stay with a more consistent team over the years. I'm going to go with Baltimore here. Wouldn't be surprised if either Cincinnati or Cleveland pulled it out either, but I'll go Baltimore.
Okay,
I got
Brooks
the
says
Ravens.
Baltimore winning this division. Nard, what you got, man?
I got the Ravens winning this division. They're the best team in the AFC North. They got the talent. They got Lamar Jackson as their franchise quarterback. Zay Flowers. I look at him as the next Tyreek Hill 2.0. And they got a very good defense too. And John Harbaugh is a very good coach for the Baltimore Ravens. And I feel like the Baltimore Ravens will make it to the Super Bowl this year and win it. That's what I got. Before we get to
Super
that
Bowl
show,
predictions, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I know, but I believe Baltimore will come out the AFC. I look at Cincinnati. I got them in second place. I believe they'll make the playoffs and Joe Burrow can stay healthy. And you look what's going on in Cincinnati right now. Jamar Chase is looking for a new contract, which I believe they'll get it done by the end of this week. So the Bengals will make the playoffs. Pittsburgh could make the playoffs as well too. You look at it, Russell Wilson's a starting quarterback, phenomenal defense. T.J. Watt is the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is successful. Because without him, where would this defense be? And then you got the Cleveland Browns. I'm not really that high on the Browns, but we got to see what Deshaun Watson will do if he's fully healthy. And the defense is good. So we already know about the Browns defense. I'm just worried about the offense and Deshaun Watson and what can they do this year? Can they get back to the playoffs or would they need to recruit another quarterback to get them into the playoffs?
All right. Well, we haven't heard from you, Philly Res, on a minute. Let's get you and then pass it over to Antoine for us.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm not into Russell Wilson. Um, Pickens, Najee Harris. That's just a show. And like they say, if you got two quarterbacks, you don't have no quarterback. Um,
Yep.
and then Cleveland. I mean, when the last time Deshaun Watson played good football? It,
Good question.
you know, every time he lace up the cleats, he find a new injury to complain about and sit out half the season or sit out the whole season. So, but they got Miles Garrett, and he's a force to be reckoned with on that defense. So they'll be in a lot of games, but at the end of the day, their offense is not going to win the games for them. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, I mean T Higgins. They got Chase Brown. I mean, but their defense is suspect. They lost. They still have Hendricks and a couple other guys on that defense, but their secondary is still suspect over there in Cincinnati. So I got them second, and then Baltimore. They adding, Henry. They got still got Roquan Smith and all those guys on defense. So that defense is elite. So I mean, Lamar's Lamar. He's still not a pure passer, but his athleticism gets him out of trouble a lot. Um, and with Zay Flowers, Andrews, and those guys. Uh, so I got Baltimore winning the division, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and then Pittsburgh in the cellar again. So that's what I see.
Um, yeah, I'll hop in here real quick too. I got the same lineup. I got the Steelers at the bottom. You took the words out of my mouth, man. Quarterback. When you don't have a starting quarterback, if you don't have what how your team identifies, because Wilson and Fields are two different kind of quarterbacks. So if you don't have the way that you're going to go at quarterback, then you don't have anything. Like I said, the defense is good. Um, we've had questions about Najee Harris and Warren in the backfield. What's my mind? Fryermuth, good tight end. But on the outside, who else you got? You got Pickens, and then you just don't have anything else on the outside. The Browns. Uh, how is Joe Burrow going to act coming off of an injury? The biggest question about the Browns for me, I mean, not the Browns. Damn, I hopped. I'm sorry. I got the Browns third. How the same way, and like I said, man, you threw a lot of stuff. How is Watson going to be at quarterback? you don't really have like who's your dog at running back? Are we going with Ford? You know what I'm saying? Is that the guy that you're going to put your hopes in at being your running back? The defense is good. You know, Miles Garrett is still there. You got Amari Cooper. You add who did they add at? They added somebody at wide receiver.
Judy, Jerry
Jerry
Judy.
Judy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Judy has been I think he's been kind of a I don't want to say dark horse, but he hasn't had a chance to shine. And I think now being a guy opposite of Amari Cooper, well, he'll probably see a lot of one on ones. I think Jerry Judy is going to be a great receiver for them. I think he's going to get a lot of looks. He's going to be able because he can stretch the field. You know, he can run away from guys. Njoku is a pretty decent tight end. It's just whether they can tie everything together. Cincinnati, um, again, quarterback coming back. How is Burrow going to be? I don't trust their backfield. I don't trust the backfield for Cincinnati. You lose
Hmm.
Mixon, you lose P. Ryan the year before or whatever. I just don't
Hmm.
trust the guys in the backfield. If I know I can sit back and not have to bring that safety down, you know, Chase and Higgins aren't as effective as they could be. So and again, Cincinnati defense, we'll see. And then Baltimore, the same thing. Baltimore has that they've gotten to that point where you are your biggest enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like you've got the pieces, adding Derrick Henry to that backfield and Lamar Jackson back there, and Flowers coming along, Mark Andrews not being hurt. They have everything that you can. They've got the pieces that you need. You've got the coach, you've got the quarterback, you've got the running back now. You've got a good, what I'm saying, you got some good receivers, you got a good tight end, and like you say, you got Roquan, you got the defense. You've got to be able to make that jump. So, and you know, like I said, we can't predict our Super Bowl winners and all that, but I got them in the AFC Championship game again.
Oh man, very good. Hey, this is a tough division, and like we just mentioned last season, three teams won this division. But coming back this season, yeah, I think we all agree here with the Ravens being the leader in the clubhouse in this division. Um, to me, Pittsburgh and Cincy are. I mean, it just depends. There's too many variables there. Like you said, the injuries for Cincinnati with the quarterback coming back, so there's an unknown there for me. And then also with Chase, I'm not sure if he's going to start season off or not on the field. But if he's back, I mean, I think Cincinnati will have enough gas in the tank to outlast the Steelers um, in the North. I just not. I like what Pittsburgh has going. I just not quite sold yet on the quarterback, the two quarterbacks. I think they're good, but are they going to be good enough? I've seen, being a Seahawks fan now, I've seen Russell Wilson at his peak, and he's nowhere near that. So what Pittsburgh is getting is a shell of Russell Wilson, kind of like James Harden. You seen what James Harden was at one point. James Harden is still effective right now. He still can start in the league. He still can have some good games. But does he have that extra gear like what he had in the past? And I think that's what Russell Wilson is right now. I think he's good for what they have, but is he good enough to get them to a whole nother plateau? That's going to be the question there. And then Cleveland, I just don't trust them now. I actually think the quarterback that they had, the one they picked up when he came off UPS, they used to play for Ravens back in the day. I think he was really the best quarterback for Cleveland, and really sparked that team last year. So
He
that's
turned the
what I
ball
had.
over too much, though, man. That's the only thing
He
about him.
he
He turned
did
the ball over too much. That
right.
was the only
He's
thing
gone
about Flacco. He turned it over too
right.
much.
No question about it. But he leaked out to the store. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not sure. I'm
Yep.
not sure if he. Yeah, I'm not sure if Watson's going to be, going to get the team at least to the playoff. Like, and you're right. Like Flacco has a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? but it felt like the team was operating a lot better when he was at quarterback than with Watson. So I'm just not feeling Cleveland right now. Unfortunately for them. All right. So anything else on the North before we get to our predictions? Because it's time. It's time to get our predictions so we can go home.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, but and you know what? Like, if me and you need to talk about this, me and you can talk about it later, and I guess we'll have a,
Yeah,
me
let's
and
do
you can
that.
get our yeah, we'll talk about our little points a bit later because I have a little
Yeah.
bit of a different take on that. So we'll talk about that
On
later.
what? On Cleveland?
Yeah, and
Okay.
again, like and just real quick, I think sometimes you have to have some grit about yourself. I just want to see how Deshaun Watson comes out and attacks this season. If he comes out and is still kind of like about it, if he comes out and
Yeah.
plays like Deshaun Watson from about 4 or 5 years, the cat that was the one that slayed Alabama, that Deshaun
Hmm.
Watson, the guy that had the swagger and the confidence to be a good NFL quarterback,
Yeah.
they've got enough pieces. Offensively, they have enough pieces, and defensively, they're not horrible. You know what I'm saying? So
No, their defense is
it's
tough.
just it's yeah, running back. You're not gonna get Chubb back till later, but you know that's and me. You can talk about that a little bit later on, but
Well,
yeah,
it
I think
definitely. I mean, I think their future is in the hands of Watson right now for this season. So we'll see what he does. Right, it hinges on him. So
yeah.
that's an excellent point. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think that we can always revisit it. As we move along. But yeah, very very good point there with Cleveland. That's what I would be keeping an eye on when I'm watching the Browns. And I think they have Dallas week 1. So that'll be a great way to see a good litmus test for them right there. Let's get to the Super Bowl predictions. Speaking of Dallas, let's get to Super Bowl predictions. Um, let's go ahead, Nart. I know you've been itching. You brought up a team name, so I think I got half of it. But who do you have winning the big one coming up this season? And I think it's in New Orleans. So who you got, big guy?
I got the Baltimore Ravens beating the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens will finally get over that hump, and Lamar Jackson will win his first ring.
Oh,
Wow, that is huge. Okay, Nard from the Nard
he hit
Report.
it. He
Make
hit
sure you follow Nard.
it.
Yeah, make sure you follow Nard on YouTube and all social media platforms. The Nard Report.
What is it?
All right, Ravens over
The Nard
Lions.
Report.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah, let me. Yeah, I like to subscribe it. The Nard Report. Okay, I got you. I'll be on there. I'll be on there when we
All
get off.
right,
Yeah,
all
thank you.
right.
And
Appreciate the
y'all go
love
check out the
there.
latest episode.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And I did already,
Hey,
brother.
All right, thank you.
let me do mine. I'm gonna go and do mine. And I'm gonna get out the way. I got in the AFC Championship game. I've got the Chiefs versus the the Houston Texans. I got the Chiefs getting to the Super Bowl. I
All
have
right.
the Detroit Lions playing the San Francisco 49ers. I have the Lions beating the 49ers. And I have the Lions upsetting the Chiefs
Ooh,
in the Super Bowl
nice.
27-24.
Wow.
And you got a score. Okay,
I'm give
I
you a
see you
scope.
there, bro.
I'm
I
give you a
see you.
scope 27-24.
All right, that's an exciting Super Bowl right there. And then that's the
Yes.
rematch of last season's opener, right?
Yeah.
When the Detroit played at KC. Very
Yeah.
good, very good. All right, let's go, Brooks.
Yeah, starting with the AFC, the question is can anybody overtake the Chiefs? No matter where the Chiefs fall in the regular season, they're going to get into the playoffs. They're going to be dangerous. Who's challenging them? I think Houston, a popular pick. I think I still think they're a little too green to take over and dethrone uh, my
Yeah.
man Patrick Mahomes in Kansas
You're
City. As
right.
much as I want to pick them, I think they're a little too green. You know, you look at Baltimore. I like their roster. Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. The track record's just not there. And you can say, okay, this is the year, but we haven't seen it so far, and he's had multiple chances. He's not that traditional pocket passer. When you get into the playoffs and you have that deficiency, defenses figure it out. As much as his athleticism can help him overcome a lot of that, and we mentioned it, obviously, he's had success. In the playoffs, it's a different animal. So right now, maybe you look at Josh Allen, another elite quarterback. I don't think he has the roster. You know, Joe Burrow, injury prone. How's he going to look? Again, if you give me a healthy Joe Burrow, maybe I go Cincinnati because they've been there before with Joe Burrow when he's healthy. Uh, as much as I want to pick Houston, I think they're maybe a season or two away from dethroning the Chiefs. So I'm going to stick with the Chiefs in the AFC. The NFC, you got some really loaded rosters as far as Philadelphia, as far as San Francisco, as far as Detroit. I think those are the three. Um, again, I have, as far as getting to the Super Bowl, I think any of those three teams can. They all have. I mean, if you look at the NFC and the AFC had the elite quarterbacks. The NFC, I don't think their quarterbacks match up, but they do have more. They do have a complete rosters. They have these really great rosters in these three teams. Um, so this is a hard one for me. I think when I look at these three, I could see any of the three doing it. I look back to San Francisco. I give the edge to this coaching staff. I've seen Shanahan. I trust Shanahan to get his offense. To have an elite offense every season, especially with the weapons there. And again, I think this San Francisco window is closing too, and I think there's a little pressure on them to actually get over the hump and win a Super Bowl. They've been so close. Um, so I got them getting to the Super Bowl. So I'll go KC and San Francisco, familiar matchup. But again, I'm just not going to take Brock Purdy winning a Super Bowl as far as he can get. And I think, and he can get there. He's proven he can get there. I mean, I'm just you can't tell me Brock Purdy is going to beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say the three-peat in Mahomes, and I think there's some, younger, hungry teams like the Lions and the Texans that are, pretty niche picks. But I need to see it. I need to see you beat Mahomes in the playoffs before I'm going to go against him. So I'm going to go to the Chiefs, get the three-peat.
Man said, I don't believe in Brock Purdy at all.
But that's
Hey,
Yeah.
hilarious.
hey,
So,
I see. Hey,
so
Brooks, I see you, man.
KC
Brooks, I
over
see you,
San
dog.
Francisco. KC over San Francisco again. All right.
All right, I
All
guess I'm
right.
up, right? All right. Well,
Yeah. Randy, can I
um,
can I can I give a
yeah, you,
can I
yeah,
kind of
you go ahead.
put what I think? No, I just want to put what
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
think you going with. Okay. Let me see.
Uh
Everybody give me 2 seconds here. All right.
huh.
All right.
They're
Hold on a
rolling,
second.
y'all. Everybody's
Let
rolling.
me type. Oh, let's get Philadelphia in there. Okay.
hmm
All right. All right. And you tell me, and then you go from there.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Well, coming out the AFC, man. I think the AFC Championship game will be Baltimore versus the Houston Texans.
I
Um,
like it.
I like I like
Whoa.
CJ. I like CJ Stroud, man. I think with that three-headed monster that he has, the kid is poised. Their young squad, D'Amico Ryans, he knows defense. He knows how to stop elite quarterbacks. And I think he has the dogs on defense that will be able to do that. And Houston Texans will average anywhere between 32 to 35 points a game. So they'll be able to score enough points to beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship here in Houston. On my NFC side, I got Detroit Lions versus the Eagles in Philly. Jalen Hurts, get back to Jalen Hurts form. They're going to go ahead and beat the Lions in Philly uh, and then face the Houston Texans in the Super Bowl. Philly come out on top, man. Uh, Jalen Hurts get his ring. Now that people can stop questioning whether he's a assistant quarterback or what have you. I think the 49ers and KC I think Baltimore end up knocking KC off to avoid Houston having to face KC. So yeah, man. So that's my Super Bowl prediction: Houston Texans versus the Eagles. I put my money where my mouth is, man.
Hey, I feel you. Hey, look, before you get into Mr. 411, I want to throw one thing in, and that is one thing
Go
about
ahead.
the NFC top that everybody kind of, whoever has to face that other team, whether it's Philadelphia, whether it's the Eagles, I mean the Philadelphia, the 49ers, or Detroit, whoever has it, like it's gonna be whoever doesn't have to face that other team is gonna be the one that wins the championship because Philly, let's just say Philly, Detroit, or the 49ers, Detroit 49ers, Philly. However it works out, whoever's gonna play in that second round, or the game before you get to the NFC championship,
In the
that is
Yeah,
going
divisional.
to be yeah, that is going to be
Divisional round.
a
the
yeah,
divisional
that is
round.
going
Yeah.
to be a dog fight, man. So whoever has to out of those three teams, whoever has to face one of those other guys when they get to that championship game, man, this shit's gonna be it's gonna be horrible because you know what I'm saying? That's like, and I don't know if everybody understands this how it comes along. That's like trying to beat up two older brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like you done beat up the second oldest brother, but now you got to beat up the oldest brother. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like the shit's just not. It's whoever's
It's a
coming
tough
into that
time.
last game. Yeah,
That number
whoever's
Yeah.
one
coming
seed,
into
the
that
number one seed, that first round bye is going to be very important on both
is going to
sides,
be
both the AFC and
exactly.
NFC.
You are right. Yeah, and the thing that we see about sports about that is when guys see that now you kind of can't lay down in the like you said, the Chiefs will have the luxury of being able to be like, you know what, we can go and we can beat anybody in our division on the side. But Detroit, San Francisco, and the Eagles aren't going to be able to say that. They're going to want to have that NFC championship game in their place. So hey, you might have to play the Houston Texans in the last game, but you got to win that game. So now we're guys where you might be able to sit them and say, hey, we'll get this and that and that. Now we got to play somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to have that number one seed coming out of the NFC East. And
Yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
a lot of these things, a lot of these little pieces and parts, and a lot of the stuff that goes into that, man, it makes a really big difference. And like I say,
Yeah.
it'll unfold as it goes along. And
Yeah.
and what's my man Philly? My man from Philly. Hey, I get him.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I get you. You know what I'm saying? Like Philly went to the Super Bowl. They had it. They were up.
Yeah.
Like you're up. You know what I'm saying? Like you right there to win the Super Bowl, and then you lose it. So you have it. You know what I'm saying? Like you got that part. You got that sour taste in your mouth. And so um, the one thing that we're gonna have about this whole thing, especially when we get to the playoffs, man, it's gonna be really exciting. And
Yeah.
that's
It is.
the one thing that the NFL hasn't had in a long time is like you said, the divisional rounds, even the first round of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like it is going to be an interesting NFL season because you got guys that are jockeying for positions and teams understanding, hey, we got to win early
Yeah.
and we got to win late. And then you got some teams that are saying, hell, like you say, the Chiefs are like, shit, all we got to do is we can win our division. If we get in the playoffs, we going like we know what we can do. So it's great, man.
Well, yeah, and it is. It's setting up for excitement. The league is set up where your divisions mean something, which is something key, which is something we'll talk about in the future, with another sport. But we'll go ahead and get the calculator's prediction back out there from earlier today. Um, he
Yeah.
predicted Detroit over the LA Chargers. as his Super Bowl, and everybody fell out their seat. So we're gonna see how that pans out. But just to summarize, Antoine, Detroit 27, Kansas City 24, Nard Ravens over the Lions in the Super Bowl. So there's two Detroits right there off the rip. Brooks, Kansas City over San Francisco again. All right, so we got Kansas City in the Super Bowl twice out of three guys making their predictions, and then Philly Red Zone, Philadelphia over Houston. So we see Houston is making a run here now. Calculator again with Detroit over the Chargers. So I've seen Detroit name a couple times here. Mr. 401 prediction is the Eagles over the Chiefs. That is a Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah, I
Um,
love it.
I
I
find it
take that.
Okay.
hard for my I find myself hard to kind of just go, I mean, like I'm trying to figure out where can the Chiefs not get in at, and look, it's possible they may not get back there, but they really disproved me last year because I did think that they would not initially get to the Super Bowl. But I did think that they could get past the Ravens because I did have concerns about the Ravens offensively at that point. But the Chiefs, I guess until proven otherwise, I'm at least going to have them in the Super Bowl. And then I think Philadelphia will bounce back, and I think they will extract their revenge on Kansas City. Even if Kansas City doesn't win the Super Bowl, it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt the legacy of Mahomes or anything like that. It just means they just got a loss in the Super Bowl, but another Super Bowl appearance. So I have Philly over Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I think all these Super Bowls will be exciting,
Love it.
gentlemen. With one exception in there, calculator. But we'll see. All right, man. This has been amazing. I appreciate you guys hanging in there as long as you did.
No
Appreciate you guys
problem. It's
being on.
411.
You're
You know
welcome.
what I'm saying? But this is our season preview. So we want to go through everything. So now everything is out there on record. You can go back and watch it in bits and pieces. There will be, shorts put out a part as this show. So you'll see some pieces of it thrown out here and there too, where you can just watch those pieces. But man, I appreciate all this. And I'm really geared up for Thursday, gentlemen.
You too.
Yeah, it's gonna be electric, man. KC,
Yeah.
Baltimore, Philly, Packers. My God, man, let's
Yeah.
get the season
Crazy.
going.
Yep. Can't
Well,
wait.
Yeah.
I
Start
mean,
And
it,
week
by
it,
the
one.
way,
it's playoff implications in week one. That's crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
and you know what? And that's the great thing about the NFL. That's the one thing that the NFL and the NBA has kind of done about early season and
Yeah,
especially like
making it
kind of for
matter.
the NBA. The NBA gets the Christmas kind of situation, but like you say, like off the rip, we're not putting. And I'm not going to sit up. I'm not going to back my team, but it's not Auburn against them. Uh, Alabama A&M. You know what I'm saying? Now we do have
Mhm.
Cal this next week, so but like Georgia against them, Clemson. That hey, that's
Clemson,
the
yeah,
that's the game. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
got to when you're lining up that first week of the season or the first part of the season and you're having to play a contender, like you say, the Chiefs.
And the Ravens.
Now, yeah, and again, I don't. They should have played. This should have been a damn. This should have been Sunday night's football game. You know what I'm saying? Like this. Yeah, I know they want to kick the season off, but like this is the game where you play either Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, where the whole world can watch this game, and you've got it on the sit. The only thing about the NFL that I hate is they're trying to expand this shit to the cable companies, and they're kind of falling into that rift of the money is being playoffs. Man, put this shit on TV where everybody can see it because everybody just
Well,
isn't gonna go out and get cable just to watch, certain things. You know what I'm saying? Put
right,
put this
right. They
shit on
selling
the
off
on
certain
the
games.
yeah, put
Yeah.
put put these big time games. Put this on. This is a
Yeah,
this is a this is either a Fox or this is a
I think it's
Fox
an NBC
or
game, right?
yeah. It's on
And this one, the
NBC.
NBC.
NBC
Yeah,
games.
It's for everybody. Yeah, yeah, it's for
Yeah,
everybody.
this
it
one, this
is.
one is on NBC on Thursday
Oh,
night.
okay.
So,
Yeah, but this is an
so I think
NBC
we got
Sunday
that one.
night game. This is Sunday night NBC. This is the game that you know what I'm saying? Like this is the game that you watch, man. Like, and I get that
Yeah.
you want to keep the season off, but you put like the Bills versus, who else? Who came
Falcons.
out the no, who came out the NFC? Who lost in the NFC?
Oh,
San
the
Francisco.
Detroit. Detroit.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
put
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
you
San
put
Francisco.
that
Yeah,
game. Yeah, like
yeah,
you put that game on TV.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And let that game be, let that game be something where you're like, okay, these were the two guys that lost getting to the Super Bowl, and let them play off the rip and let somebody see that. It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them in their conference. It doesn't hurt them
Okay.
in their division. But you got to
Cool.
play a out of conference game. But put that there, and then it's like, okay, yeah, let's watch that. And then, like you say, Sunday night, let's watch fucking the Ravens against the Chiefs, where it was a close game, and we thought Lamar might have been able to get over there, and we saw Mahomes do his thing, and
Yeah.
you know,
All right. Well, we'll definitely see how it all pans out. And man, but we down to the last 30 seconds here. And I'm just going to say on behalf of Antoine, Nard, the Nard Report, Philly Red Zone, and Brooks, the Showcase. I'm Mr. 411. And by the way, shout out to Calculator and also Coach from the Low. He'll be in and out with us all season. So we can't wait to hear his take on his Steelers. So we'll get him out here too. But for all these gentlemen, I like to
hey
thank
man,
everybody, man.
yeah, hey, look, yeah, hey, put everybody's stuff out here so I can follow it, man. Put your,
Yep.
put
We'll
through the
get it
chat or
all to you.
whatever. I'll put it out
Yep.
here. Hey, I love blowing up my people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing
Man.
that I understand. Your community makes your world. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that you
Exactly.
live across the street from and the people that
Yep.
I don't know who you know and you don't know who I know, but if somebody I know looks at this thing, it might be somebody that I know that
You
can
never
put you
know.
on somewhere else and that you don't know about. So that's the great thing about it. Put that stuff in there so we can talk to each other and communicate to each other, man. Blow this shit
We'll
up.
do. All right. We'll get it out there. All right. So everybody have a
The,
good night. We'll catch you later.
the,
Okay,
All
the
right,
y'all.
take it easy,
NAR
fellas.
report. I got you. Hey, y'all have a good night.